No way.
Pretty good.
or is that the mic? Bueno? Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So
Talk to me later.
Yeah.
Ready? Yes, sorry. Hold on. Uno, dos.
I would like to call this meeting to order of the Gonzales Unified School District Board of Education regular board meeting for Tuesday, May 10th at 2022. We're calling the meeting to order at the Gonzales High Library. We will start with our roll call.
Board President Celeste Daniel,
Present.
Board Clerk Araceli Flores,
Present.
Board Member Maria Cuevas, Board Member Cesar Ayon,
Present.
and Board Member Jose Lopez.
Here.
Jose Lopez is going to be joining us virtually. And do you have an agenda in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Board members, can you hear Lopez?
Yeah, we
Yes, I
hear you.
can.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. Moving to item 3, approval of the agenda. And there are some updates I need to apprise the board of. I'm going to motion that we approve the agenda with removing 8.1 on informational items. 8.2 will be tabled for next meeting. We're removing 9.1, 10.7, and 10.8. If I can get a motion to approve the agenda with those,
With the changes?
with the changes.
So motion to approve the agenda with the changes?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Flores, second by Mr. Ione. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 4, flag salute.
Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vampires.
We're invisible.
I say invisible? Or indivisible?
All right.
Still late.
Perfect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we're being a vampire.
Thank you, Araceli.
Just that's good. Like this.
Moving on to item 5, public comments. At this time, members of the public may address the board on topics that are under the jurisdiction of the board. For public comments on items not on the agenda, the board may not discuss or take action during this meeting. Education Code 35145.5. Comments from the public shall be limited to 3 minutes on any topic. The board may limit the total time for public input on any topic to 20 minutes unless it chooses to waive the item limit for a particular item. And we do have translation services if necessary.
Oh. Oh. Sound like the rain.
I thought it was like a weed eater.
We only public comment, but it's for agenda 8.5.
Any other public comments? No public comments. Seeing as there's no public comments, we're gonna go ahead and move on to 6, communications, Gonzales Teachers Association report. Anybody here from GTA? I think she's the president. Moving on to item 6.2, Gonzales Youth Commissioners Report. GYC, Sherlyn. Okay. Moving on to item 6.3, student board member report, and seeing as we don't have a student board member present. 6.4, La Gloria Elementary School report, and Miss Dietrich is here. Yes.
Sorry, we can't hear nothing.
Testing, testing. Okay, awesome. So La Gloria report, we're 100% complete with our group LPAC testing, and we are about 82% complete with our one-on-one speaking. And we're currently administering our SBAC testing. We're in week 2. We just completed our math, computer adaptive test, and performance task this past week. Currently working on ELA, and then next week we're going to move into 5th grade science. And just today, our new library books arrived. So we're very excited about that. And also today, lots of things happened today. We reopened our PBIS Bulldog store. So it's been a long time waiting for that to reopen. Our kids are just so stoked, pumped up, as are our teachers. Some upcoming events, PTA Association meeting happening tomorrow at 6 p.m. It will be a virtual meeting. We have a school site council ELAC meeting happening on the 25th of May, 6 p.m. And we'll make sure we provide a hybrid option for that. Cafecito the following morning at 8:30 a.m., May 26th. And we're going to continue with the same format of our semester awards that we conducted in December, definitely bringing in our parents, so that those will be conducted in June. So be on the lookout for that, parents. And 5th grade promotion, Tuesday, June 7th from 11 to 2:30. So during the day, we're going to have some 5th grade promotion events for our kiddos. We're looking at a during school dance and really making it fun for the students who are exiting our campus. Looking ahead, just today, our SLT met and we calendared our important dates for the following school year. And finally, last but definitely not least, we are moving into online registration for our new and returning students. So we're looking at, La Gloria specifically is looking at some dates in July to provide some parent support so that we can really help parents onboard them in the process. So be on the lookout for that as well. Any questions for La Gloria?
Is there any questions?
The online registration, is that available for all classes in La Gloria or just 5th grade?
That will be available for all returning students. So that will be for our current kindergarten to our current 4th graders who, 4th grade will be 5th grade next year. All of our current students, they'll be returning to us. So we're kind of categorizing them in 2 groups, right? All of our returning students and then all of our new registers. So those are going to be our new TK students and our new kinder students.
Excellent. Thank you so much for this. This has been an initiative way long time coming. I'm just glad that we now finally offer it. And I'm sure that our parents appreciate it as well. So thank you so much for this.
Sure. And thanks to our IT department who's making it happen behind the scenes. Very grateful.
No questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dietrich.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
Oh,
Hold on. Jose
I
has
had
a-
a quick question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I got diagnosed with strep throat, so I'm having a hard time talking. Ms. Dietrich, for the dual enrollment program, do we have numbers yet on that program?
The dual language immersion program. Yes, currently we have 20 applicants in waiting. And what we mean by in waiting is they're waiting to be assessed. So the next step is for assessments to be scheduled. And we have a team of assessors, a classified team, and that was put in through an MOU, who will be working on scheduling. And at the moment, we are anticipating to fill one class. However, that could definitely change over the summer, as we know that is the time when our enrollment numbers tend to increase significantly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to point out that at the next meeting, we'll be asking the board to appoint Diana as the next principal at La Gloria. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm a little premature. I'm sorry about the congratulations, but I just
Pending
want
board approval.
pending board approval. Correct.
Well, good to know.
Wow.
Sorry about that, board.
That's how to
That's great
finish.
news.
That's how to finish.
Okay, moving on to 6.5, Fairview Middle School report, and I don't believe Mr. Malagon is here.
Some today.
6.6 is Gonzales High School report. I don't see.
They are going to report.
Ocampo is online. Okay.
I believe
Let me see if
he will be as
Mr.
well.
Ocampo, are you going to be providing, Mr. Ocampo, will you be providing a report virtually?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, as much as my voice will allow, Mr. Soriano, I believe should be online. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he's going to report. If not, I could report out.
Wants to be.
He is not online.
Text him.
Okay.
If you can text him and see if he's online.
Yeah. Give me a sec if you don't mind.
No, no problem.
Spoke to him an hour ago and he made it a point that he had an important announcement. He sounded like Mike. Their voices are terrible.
I know. I don't know if Marvin and the board can hear me, but Soriano's trying to log on at the moment. Would everyone be okay if we just waited a minute while he logged on?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next report, and as soon as he becomes available, we'll put him on.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you.
Feel better.
Thank you.
Oh, that him?
Moving on to item 6.7, interim superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you. I've got a couple of things to report. First of all, last Wednesday, I had the pleasure of attending the FFA Spring Awards ceremony. First time I'd ever been to an FFA event, and it was truly amazing. I've been to, I don't know, I would hazard to say thousands of ceremonies over my career. And I've never been at one that was led from start to finish by students. Not a single adult spoke a word. And beyond that, the public speaking was at such a high level, I couldn't help but be impressed. And also the core values that they espoused were truly inspiring. Bottom line was, I just thought it was just, felt like I'd missed out on my entire career of seeing something so special. I really did. And then at the end, there was a really a pleasant surprise. Principal Soriano was inducted as an honorary member of FFA. It was really touching. I'm gonna skip the next one, and if Jer comes on before I'm finished, I'd like him, because he has something to say on the same topic I do, and I'd rather let him make the announcement. So let me know if he comes on. Then last week I attended an event sponsored by MCOE where they annually celebrate our certificated and classified employees from across the county who've been nominated in various categories for their exemplary service. However, unfortunately, for Gonzales, there was a glitch in the process and our classified employees were not honored. They were not on the agenda, nor were they named, and it's nobody's fault. It's just unfortunate that it happened, and they behaved admirably. They seemed to enjoy themselves and were not visibly upset by it, but I would imagine inside they were hurt by it. And so been trying to figure out how we can rectify that because they deserve to be honored. So I was speaking with Deneen Gus, the MCOE Superintendent of Schools, and she's offered to come and attend the next board meeting and present their certificates to them. So if the board is willing, I'd like to organize that celebration so we can honor these good people for their fine work to Gonzales students. And then, is he on yet? No. Okay. Tomorrow is National School Nurses Day, May 11th. It's an annual event, and it was established to foster a better understanding of the role of school nurses in educational institutions. Because I think a lot of people have a limited view of the things that they do for our schools and the number of children that they impact. So we have two school nurses in Gonzales, Grace Aon and Vanessa, and forgive me, I cannot roll my R's. Will you do it for me? Arredondo. Thank you. I'm trying. So if you see a school nurse tomorrow, I would encourage you to thank her for her service to our children. And in Caesar's case, I would encourage you to hug her. So we'll bring you a formal resolution at the next meeting. I'm finding that coming out of retirement after 7 years, I'm just a little slow on so many things. And this is another thing that got by me until too late for this agenda. But it does actually turn out to be a bit serendipitous because now we can bring the resolution to you at the same time that we're going to give you your formal report on school, on our student health services. And is he on?
He is on.
Okay,
So let me go
perfect.
ahead and allow Mr. Soriano to speak. Mr. Soriano, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So good evening, board, the interim superintendent, president of our board. I'm George Soriano, principal at Gonzales High School, and I'm ready to give you my report. Okay, thank you for your patience. I had a hard time with getting on, but we're good now. So happenings at Gonzales High School. We were almost done with our SBAC testing. We've done the ELA and the math. We're working on the science this week. We're 2/3 done with our AP testing. We got social science, ELA, and we're working on our Spanish. Right now, our counselors are going over our course selections with our departments to complete our master schedule, hopefully done in a couple of weeks. We are now promoting our summer school program. So if you look at our web, our school site web, we have more information on our school site web there. It's a fun time of the year, but it's also busy as we have our juniors and seniors getting ready for the prom. Seniors getting ready for our grad night. Big round of applause for Cynthia Ruiz, who's been selected to represent Gonzales at our CT Student of the Year. She has shown exemplary character, responsibility, communication involvement, and academic performance in all her CT classes. So Cynthia, you rock. Kudos to Justin Tavares and Robert Gutierrez. They will be representing us at our CCS Track and Field Championships in Gilroy this weekend. So that's awesome. We will also have over 20 students in our FFA who will be showcasing animals at the Salinas Valley Fair this weekend. So a lot going on. We have our baseball programs are doing well. Our softball programs are doing well. Thank you for our parents and our staff for going out there to support. It makes a big difference. Lastly, I would like to really congratulate our school, our whole entire school community, and the fact that it is the distinct pleasure and pride to inform you that Gonzales High School, from the ACS WASC Spring Committee meeting, has been determined to have met the ACS WASC criteria for accreditation. The accreditation status was based on information provided by the school's report and the school, and also the satisfactory completion of the accreditation visit. The commission has removed the probation status and has restored the accreditation status to Gonzales High School through June 30th, 2026. We have a mid-cycle visit during the 22-23 school year. So many thanks to our staff, our instructional council, our parents, our district personnel, our board, our community members out there who played an integral part in bringing this to our school. Big applause to Angela Perez, Yolanda Barba, Sita Ayala, for just working with us and providing us with data and making sure that those reports were accurate as possible. But lastly, Monica Silva, you too, you get a pat on the back because I know I bugged the heck out of you for 2 or 3 months. Lastly, I'd like to give kudos out to and a big mentorship for her guidance for helping Mike and I go through this ordeal. Yvette Irving, wherever you are, thank you. We have a lot of work to do still, but man, it's good to be back to regular status on our accreditation. Okay, so many thanks to all. Just so happy to express my joy in letting you all know about this, and that is all.
Woo! Thank you, Mr. Soriano.
And I know I only had like 90 seconds, but I had to do it really quick. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Malaga, we did pass up Fairview, but are you available to give a Fairview report? Oh, okay, perfect. So happens when he's doing double duty.
You want to take a minute and I can finish my report?
Oh, I didn't know you weren't done.
I have one more, but if you're ready to go, then. Okay. All right. Thought that might be helpful. And it dovetails with the announcement you just heard from Mr. Soriano. So a couple of weeks ago, I spoke with Dr. Solis, who is the chair of the WASC committee that visited Gonzales High School. And I called him because I wanted to find out about this letter that I'd heard about really at my very first meeting on March 22nd. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to provide me with the letter. But what he did do was assure me that the letter had absolutely no impact on the report. And as you just heard, that's clearly the case. The school has received full accreditation with a midterm visit, which is very common to receive a midterm visit. So the school absolutely represented itself accurately. He assured me that the information that he saw, he felt very confident that it was a true representation of the school. The classrooms they visited were randomly selected. People did not know they were coming in. The reports he heard from students and parents, as well as staff, he felt were very consistent and accurate. And something very important, I think he said, was that the students at Gonzales High are amazing. He went out of his way to tell me that if we would just leave them alone, everything will be great, because he was so impressed. And that didn't come out the way I intended it. We don't want to leave them alone. But what he said, and I'm trying to say, is that we have a group of students who are empowered, can present themselves well, are informed about issues, and take leadership roles in our school. All important things. So no, we don't want to leave them alone, but sometimes we do want to get out of their way. So thank you. Now I'm done.
6.5 Fairview Middle School.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, families at home. Feliz de las Madres para todas las madres mexicanas. For all Mexican mothers, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Miguel Malagon, Fairview Middle School principal, and I'm here to report what's going on at Fairview Middle School. There is a lot going on. We are working right now and we're in the middle of state assessments. We started today with the math. We did language arts last week. And next week, we will be doing the science and doing also makeups for English and math for any students who still need to work on those assessments. We also finishing it up the LPAC test. We are pretty much done with the group. However, we still have a few students that we need to do on the one-on-one. So we are having to work with that and some strategies on how to get that done, but we will get that done as well. The 8th grade committee parents are working extremely hard to get all the end of the year activities. I have a few announcements for that particular grade since it's coming up to the end of the school year pretty soon. The end of the quarter for them will be May 25th. So we are expecting the grades to be done for 8th grade on May 27. We will have a promotion check just to make sure that everybody that has the requirements knows that they have the requirements by June 3rd. And then we will have lump awards the day that we will have our practice at the stadium. That will be June 6th. We have an honor roll trip scheduled for June 3rd that is coming up. Those are for students who got honor roll for 3 or more grading periods. There's 4 available. If you got 3, you qualify for that particular trip. Then the promotion ceremony is going to be on the 10th at 10 o'clock in the Gonzales High School Stadium. So please put it in your calendar and don't forget about us. And then the 8th grade will also have a trip to Great America. That is in June 8th as well. When it comes to the library, I want to thank the board for all their support on getting all those books. Our library looks really nice now with books on the shelves, and we are very happy to have those books. We are planning to do like a mini grand opening pretty soon. So once we have the furniture installed and everything, to our library is going to look like new. When it comes to sports, I want to just give a huge kudos to the players and the coaches from the girls soccer team. We have our tournament next week on the 17th and the 18th. Wrestling is done. Thank you to Mr. and Miss Rodriguez. Softball, Jordan Ramirez is also the coach. Thank you for that. Track and field, who did an amazing season, is actually meeting right now in Chular. That's their last meet. So they are they're competing right now. And our sport banquet, which is going to be on May 21st at 6 o'clock in the FMS cafeteria. So we're inviting all of you guys to attend if you guys can. And that's all I have for Fairview Middle School. Do you have any questions?
These are questions.
Thank you. Thank you for your report.
Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. Malagon,
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can you just, would you be able to send us the promotion dates and times? That way we can add them to our calendars. I didn't get all the details.
I will send it to you guys.
Thank you.
Promotion times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not sure. Oh, Mr. Malagon, the sports banquet on the 21st, what time?
6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to public hearings, and I believe we're waiting for our presenters to come online, so we're gonna.
They're there,
Oh.
but do we want to do it now? At 6:30? Yeah. Yes, we do have the demographer, and we also have our attorney online.
So moving on to item 7, a public hearing, 7.1, presentation regarding the process to create trustee area maps and public hearing regarding proposed composition of trustee area maps.
Matter of fact, if Schoolworks can hear us, they do have their hand raised.
And Julie's on too as well.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All righty, I am going to share my screen. I've got a little presentation prepared. So I'm here tonight to present some of the initial options that we've drawn for your trustee boundaries. When in building these trustee boundaries, we had to build them from census blocks. And when putting together each area, we took into account the communities served, the local topography and geography, making sure to try and have some clean lines. And there's a requirement that each area be cohesive and contiguous so that there's not islands that an area grabs. We took into account the location of each of the trustee board members so that we wouldn't unintentionally displace anyone through this process, and trying to balance the populations as equal as possible. For each scenario, we show a couple of maps that illustrate the boundaries, as well as the additional data showing the breakdown of the population. So for map option A, for each map option, we show a large zoomed out view as well as a more detailed view of the harder to see kind of details of the map. On the large map, we've outlined Chuler in the north as well as Mission in the south with a little blue line overlay, just to illustrate where those boundary lines are. And so each area has a different color. And for map A, we were trying to achieve an ideal population of 2,310 people in each area. And we achieved a peak deviation for Plan A of 2.5%. And for each plan, we also have additional breakdown of the racial ethnic details. And for each area, broken down by total population, adult population, as well as the citizen voting age population. But the requirements are, I believe, only based around the total population numbers. We just have access to additional data that's sometimes useful to look at. And so these are this is map option B. Not a whole lot different from the other plan. And I believe that PDF maps have also been provided previously so that you can see these details a little better. And so for map B, we were able to achieve a peak deviation of 5.5% with the additional detail breakdown here. Map C is shown here. And with maps option C, we achieved a peak deviation of just under 3% with the additional details shown here. And finally, with Plan D, we attempted with this plan to keep all of Schwaller in its own trustee area. And we created this plan and achieved a peak deviation of just under 2%. These 4 maps show some possible solutions for the board to consider when creating their trustee areas. And each, as I said previously, each of these plans took into account the locations of the current trustees so that each trustee has their own area and nobody will be unseated through this process. Additional maps can be generated based on input from the board and community. And then once a final decision has been made, we will submit that information to the county committee for review and approval. And with that, I will open the floor to any questions.
Jose, do you have any questions?
No, thank you at this time for your information.
Caesar?
Yes, would it be possible to get your presentation, the one that you just showed? I don't see that attached.
Yes, I will make sure to send this over right away.
Great. I'm specifically interested in the demographic information, also the peak deviation.
Okay.
Thank you.
And can you translate it into Spanish as well, please? For our community? Well, I don't know if you're able to, but I mean, I know that there's interest in our community, in the Spanish-speaking community.
I don't think we have anybody on our staff who is able to do that, but I'm sure somebody in the district staff will be able to get it translated.
Thank you.
Jose, just to clarify, is it that you want the areas in Spanish?
Yeah, that way, we're able to easily hand it out to the community.
Demographics. You
Yeah.
look on the website, it's in Spanish as well.
So just to clarify, Jose, Monica just said that on our website, it's in English and in Spanish.
Okay, thank you, Monica.
Hello, can you hear me? This is Julie Rossiter. Can you hear me?
Yes, Julie.
Yeah, I just also want to point out that the presentation is posted on the website, so you can access it that way right now if you wanted to see the demographic details.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Julie. So at this time, I would like to open for a public hearing for input at 6:11. Any public comment from anybody online or in our gallery? Seeing as there's no public input, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:12. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on this item?
Not for public hearing.
No, just on the item in general? No? So no direction for the,
Usually not for a public hearing. We'll go into, we're not voting on this right now.
no, but you can give direction to the demographer if any changes that you might like them to propose for additional maps. I'm not suggesting that you have any, but I'm just
Can I
inviting
make a
you.
suggestion?
Did you have a,
Should we go with Jose first?
Jose, did you have any suggestions or comments regarding the maps?
Not at this time. I mean, I haven't had a chance to fully go through them, but
Okay. Mr. Ayon?
Yeah, thank you for your work on this. The only thing I can I think suggest is maybe to add a couple more street names just to give people that a little bit more information regarding where things are, because sometimes it could be your street that's there and one side of the street, your neighbor might be in one district and you might be in the other, right? So I think it's good for that way the public will know exactly where they would fall in these four options right now. So there's A, B, C, and D. Barring any board direction to create new maps, it would just be these maps that are there now that we would pick. And as you can see, there's 5 districts, there's 5 board members. Each board member is in one of these districts. The districts are made in a different way depending on whether it's A, B, or C, or D. But there is no conflict between the board members in any of this, and any of these maps. I didn't know that was going to be the case. It's actually, I think, very nice that it is, because it prevents kind of weird situations where there's two board members in one, and yeah. So anyway, I'm glad they did it that way. I think it just simplifies things. So I do encourage the public to look into these, and because this is the way that the elections will be going forward, right? If you see our schedule, we're scheduled to adopt one of these on May 31st, this month, right? This month. So potentially, if the elections department is able to, the 2022 elections this November will be based on these maps, right? And that's a big deal, because as you guys know, there are 3 board members that are up for re-election: Maria, Jose, and Araceli. And that's 3 districts, right? Out of the 5, both Celeste and I are not up for re-election. We are in 2 years. So right now, if this is adopted, then the voters that live in one of those 3 from these maps, either map A, map B, map C, or map D, only the folks that live in those districts would be able to vote, right? Now, you don't have to worry about, well, do I qualify? Well, the Monterey County Office of Elections will take care of that. So you'll get your ballot in the mail. And if you see one of these names, that means you're in that district, kind of thing. So you don't have to worry about it in that sense. So you'll know. But if you don't get a voter, and then you're saying, well, why am I not voting? Well, you probably are not in this map, right? So that's what district elections do, right? So then in 2024, the 3, say that they all run and they win and they're still here, or new people, whatever, then in 2024, only the district that Celeste and myself are in, only the folks that in those districts will get to vote, right? And so on and so on. So every 3 years, every 2 years, that's the process. That's the new process. That's by district elections. Right now, we have at large, which means everybody gets to vote all the time for whomever comes up, but that is no longer going to be the case. So I just want to make sure that folks understand that. And I know I covered a lot, but I encourage you to read the resolution, to look up the California Voting Rights Act, and by district elections, because that's how we're going to do business going forward, basically. So, I mean, the schedule that we have, if the Monterey County Office of Elections is able to, then the elections are gonna be made that way starting in November of this year. So not in 2024. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Araceli, any suggestions or comments regarding the maps that we have?
The only suggestion that I would make is just so people may not want to get lost in numbers. Is there a way to print the population of each area on the maps?
The total population number in each area?
Yeah. So like
Yes,
for
I can-
area 3, if it's like 2022, is that so we can see it on the map? What population is in each area?
Yes, I can easily add that
'Cause I
for you.
think looking at all your graphs, that people can get lost in numbers, like myself.
Go ahead, Julie.
It's easier.
Yeah, and Araceli, if I may add to that,
We have Julie.
I'm sorry, Julie. Yeah.
I do now too, so don't forget me, please.
I just wanted to add in that I have communicated with the county committee, who is the last step in the process is to get their approval. And given their schedule and the district's timeline, we're looking at them trying to come to the district because that's the requirement, is that the county committee has to hold a hearing within the district's boundaries. And they are looking at that week of May 30th to conduct that meeting within your district boundaries. And therefore, to the extent you can give as much input tonight on the maps, that would be very useful so that we can then see if there are any modifications that you might want, or if you think one of these maps stands out in any way as being preferable. Any feedback that you can give the demographer at this point would be helpful because we are on this very compressed timeline.
Thank you, Julie.
Hold on. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Julie, this is Marvin. Can you speak to the board about their ability, in addition to requesting additional maps, and I'm not hearing any such requests, they can also tonight, if they so choose, narrow the maps. They can reduce the number.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. That's part of what I'm trying to say. If you have any direction, any input with regard to if it's changes to the maps, or if you think, like I said, if one of these maps or two of the maps, seem to divide the district up in a way that, a particular board member finds preferable, all that input would be very helpful to get, if possible, tonight. And we will have another post-map meeting. But like I said, the more input we can get at this point, given that we are on sort of a compressed schedule, the better.
I go ahead, Jose.
Which is the perfect lead way to my question. What happens, and Cesar made this smart, it made me think, Julie, what happens if one of us moves location to another house within the city, within the district? How would that change these maps?
Well, the maps will get adopted now, right, or in the next few weeks. So if somebody subsequently did move, that could impact, whether if they moved outside of the particular trustee area, that could impact them going forward. That would just be something you'd have to figure out.
And which leads to, I still live within the district boundaries, but I live like right on Gloria Road, right on the outside of town. So I saw that on the map. I can bring it up. It's kind of it's like right there on the corner of Gloria Road and Highway 101. It's where I grew up, my parents' place. But this is where I'm currently residing. It's still within the city, the district boundaries, but that's why I brought it up and I wanted to share that information with you guys.
Can you more specifically show on a map that location?
It's on the corner of Highway 101 and Gloria Road. So on the south, what is it, by the cemetery, across from the cemetery? It's a ranch, so it's the only house up there. For the time being, I know development's gonna develop in this area too, but. Sorry, guys, but I wanted to share this information with everybody.
This is the freeway entrance, and he lives right here.
So are you saying that that's a different location than what the demographer had?
He is in air.
I think the demographer had my old address.
Okay.
He's in area 5.
That they're gonna have, Jose, whatever address you're registered as a voter.
Correct.
So that's where they got the borders from.
Yeah, and that's why I was bringing it up because, in listening to Cesar, I was like, okay, how is that going to change if, if we move within this district?
That's just still area 5.
So my suggestion, that what I would like to see along with the Aracelis is to get the population counts. Is there a way to get a voter count for each area?
That would be pulled from either the citizen voting age population or the adult population, but actual who's registered voters is not included in that census data that we have access to.
But would we be able to get that information?
you should try to keep in mind that the point is of what the demographer is doing is just trying to make each area as equal in population as possible. So all of the 4 maps that he's created create each, trustee areas that are essentially equal in population. It's just the way we define equal has a little ability to have variance because it's almost impossible to make everything, actually equal in when you're dividing these boundaries up. So if he adds these population numbers in, they'll all be relatively close to each other, those numbers for each of the trustee areas, because that's the goal of what he's doing. Does that make sense?
No, I get it. I understand populations, but I know some areas on the boundaries have a higher voter population than others. So that's why I was asking. So for example, let's just say they were all 2,200 a population, each area carried a population of 2,200, but some of those may only have 50% registered voters. Some may have 80% registered voters. So that's why I was just seeing if that data was available.
I see what you're saying.
But Julie, though, I think that is not a determinant, correct? The only determinant is
No.
population.
No, it's not. I was just asking for it.
Yeah, no, I know it'd be nice to have, but I believe that there's always threat of litigation, and I mean that's always around the corner, But for us, I think we would have to be pretty cautious to. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't even know if that's possible to have 5 districts where they as well take into consideration and balance them, take into consideration registered voters or what's the term, voter age population, basically who is old enough that could vote, right? I don't know if we can even do that. I think that would be
Pure population.
I think it's based on pure population. And I think,
Yeah,
go ahead, Julie.
Sorry, for purposes of the California Voting Rights Act, you're correct. The factor that they look at is the total population.
Right. So in a sense, we're relying on a number that is almost too broad because like Celeste was saying, and we have to, I mean, that's the only thing we can rely on really, I guess, because area 2 might have 75, I'm just saying area 2, just out of nowhere, might have 75% registered voters and area 4 might have 10%, right? Something like that.
I hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. I guess you could look at these maps and say, well, based on what you know about your population in your district, you prefer map X because you think that more equally divides the citizens of the actual, voters versus total population. I mean, that might be a reason that you look at one and say, you know what, I think this map looks better to me, for example.
So I think that would be useful. I mean, I think the numbers we already know that they're within 10% because that's the law. They have to be, the areas that have to be within 10% of one another. So I guess that would be useful, sort of, although we know that's the case. But it would be just useful to know the specific number, but also it would be nice to know the voter age population. Is that the term? Basically, how many folks there are of age to vote of age to vote?
Are you asking Julie or the demographer?
Both.
Yeah, the citizens of vote, the CVAP is the citizens of voting age population. That can be sometimes can be significantly lower than the total population in a particular area.
Right. I think that would be useful to have that number. And possibly to have, registered voters. I mean, that number could change, right? We saw last election, it changed quite a bit on the upside. So that number can change. Marvin, did you want to say something?
I do.
Yes.
Would it be helpful for the demographer to remind everybody, including the board, as to the factors that they used in constructing the maps and which factors they can choose to consider?
Okay.
Just give us a little primer on that. That might
Okay.
help in this discussion. Mr. Reynolds, are you there?
You're muted.
Sorry about that. The census, we're required to build them up from census blocks, which are drawn by the census. And we took into account the locations of each trustees. We had the Burgundy Avenue address for Jose, and we tried to follow roads. We tried to keep neighborhoods together as much as we could. But ultimately it was, the main factor we took into account was balancing the total population as well as we could.
Are there other factors that you sometimes consider? The board is exploring other factors, and if they're not possible to be considered, it might be helpful for them to know that.
Not really that I can think of. If there's any ideas, I'm more than willing to consider trying to figure out, rethink drawing some of these maps if we divided a community that we didn't anticipate to.
What about the labor camps that are located within our district? Are they?
They're here, Porter
They're-
Camp is here.
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah,
I can't. Okay.
Porter Camp and
Yes.
Chular are included. I
perfect.
just think at this point, if we can just get
Microphone.
to make it easier for people to understand is just really to, on every area, just get the population count.
And more detailed streets, more of the streets for detail.
Particularly at the boundaries, I would think.
Oh, yeah, that would help.
At the out, yeah.
The outskirt boundaries.
Sounds good. I'll make sure to add those extra street labels for the dividing lines, as well as adding the total population number for each area, as well as the citizen voting age population for each area as labels with the area.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, moving on to informational items, 8.3 map. Yes. Did you have a question, Mr. Martinez? Go ahead. You have to do, if you can go to the podium.
Thank you for allowing me. I have no map, so I don't know what you guys are looking at. I have no way to access a computer because I don't own a computer.
They
So-
are available, just so for your future reference. So they are available at the district office. If you don't have access online, they're available online. And for those of you that are at home, you can always access it on the district website, and they are available at the district office upon request. Yeah.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is the reason why you guys are districting, because of the city. The city, the election it's a joke. And so LULAC looked at that and saw that, hey, we need to change. So they picked on you guys. So now that they did that, which I want to ask the city to, they have to district too. And I'm making sure that my area, which you guys are a part of, is north side from Alta to the freeway, 5th Street to 10th Street, that it does not mix with the east side or the south side. We don't mind going to Chular, the other areas. You mix us with the other side of town, we're going to be in the same problem that all the voting people are going to be in the east side. So I don't know, I haven't looked at your map, but if you have North Side mixed with any other part of Gonzales, from 5th Street to 10th Street or Freeway to Alta, then you guys are not serving the purpose why they sued you guys. This side is not representative, because where I live on 10th Street in Belden, I have a bunch of field workers, hard-working field workers that don't vote, or not registered, or can't register. So it's up to me and my fellow neighbors to give them a vote. If we can't outvote the rest of the town, how are we going to give these people in our community a vote? Because we care about our community. We're not Gonzales Way. We're citizens of Gonzales. We're proud to be Gonzales residents. And hopefully one day my grandkids will come back to the school district. My kids do not come to the school. But I'm still trying to change it to where we have a vote and say who we put in representing North Side. And I don't know, I haven't looked at your map. If you guys better not chop us into the East Side, because the East Side always gets what they want. And I'll give you an example. Downtown, they robbed those stores 4 or 5 times across the street from the police department. And they wait for the police department to go to the East Side to patrol. Then they rob the stores because they know the cops are all on the East Side, patrolling that side of town. And that's where we're this problem. We're trying to get representation on this side of town. So I don't know what your maps show. You guys mixed this to the east side, south side?
I don't believe any of them show. I don't believe any of, I was just looking at these. I don't believe any of them cross the bridge.
The freeway? Oh, Fifth Street? Fifth Street, it's a different area. Fifth Street it's south side.
Thank you, Mr. And I encourage you to come on our next meeting because we will be voting on the given, and I believe we
Left you a
provided
copy of the maps.
That's when we'll be voting on the area maps. Okay, thank you. Moving on to 8 informational items, 8.3 math adoption plan, Ms. Barba.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Yolanda Barba, the Assistant Superintendent for Educational Services. And tonight I'm going to be presenting to you our district math adoption plan. And part of that is going to be providing you information of the California math frameworks. So the goal of the framework is to better guide the instruction so that we give the students the opportunity to be successful performing high levels of math. With this stated, the instructional materials for math should have a strong emphasis on student engagement, problem solving, reasoning, communication, and explaining. And so with this goal in mind, the California State Board of Education drafted the new California math frameworks. So the California math frameworks, they act as a guide that's designed to help educators align the classroom teaching with California's rigorous math learning standards. The new frameworks are built on the principles of focus and coherence and rigor. And these 3 principles are embedded, much like the 2013 frameworks, all throughout the design of the revised mathematical frameworks of California. So guided by the 3 principles, again, focus, rigor, and coherence, the proposed 2022 math frameworks will continue to incorporate what research supports in the teaching and learning of math and highlights the 8 standards for math practice that you see here on the right. So what is new to the frameworks are the 4 content connections and the addition of the 3 drivers of investigation, which are essentially the everyday context that will help build relevance as students begin to explore, discover, and reason with and about math. So essentially, it's giving students the opportunity to have hands-on experiences, real-world applications. So for example, if they're learning area and perimeter, they can connect it to perhaps building a home. So here is the timeline of the redevelopment of the framework. So the development of these frameworks was initiated in 2019, and that was brought about by a need to improve performance in mathematics in all of California. The first draft of the frameworks was released in January of 2021 for public review. Once feedback was incorporated, the second draft was then released in January of 2022. So then the feedback, once again, the public was able to provide feedback, and that was incorporated in the first revision, which is currently was open until the end of last month. So as you can see, this has been a 3-year-long process. And the target timeline for the State Board of Education to take action to adopt that framework is going to be in July of 2022. So once the adoption of the new frameworks happens, publishers will need to make revisions to their developed instructional materials to ensure that it's aligned with these frameworks. So in order for us to make informed decisions regarding these instructional materials, we will be looking at the new math frameworks for guidance. So this is our adoption timeline. So as we wait for the final adoption of the frameworks by the State Board of Education, our department has been engaging in the following pre-adoption work. So as soon as the framework is adopted, we will engage staff in closely looking at the curriculum, materials that are available that will best align with the framework's research-based standards for math practice. So the pre-adoption work is including attending webinars, trainings, having focus groups, and really studying the chapters of the framework so that we can ensure that we are looking at everything that's required. And at the same time, we also have, we've also been working with Laura Carey, who is the educational administrator in mathematics at MCOE. And she's also here tonight, so I thank her for being here. She came to support with any questions that we might have, but she has been working closely with our math teachers in 7th through 12th grade. And then she will also begin that work of digging into the frameworks to ensure that staff has an understanding. So moving forward, we will be providing professional development. We also have in our plans to have our academic coaches get trained so that they're able to support our teachers. So essentially, our goal is to ensure that we have the correct information, that we can make well-informed decisions when we look at curriculum and instructional materials that will give our students what they need to achieve the standards. As we move forward, we will look at materials to pilot. And then once we begin that pilot, we will be meeting continuously with our math teachers to ensure that the curriculum will have what's aligned to our new frameworks. And that is it. Does anybody have any questions?
What's that? Any questions?
Thank you, Yolanda, for all your work in the presentation, a lot of good information.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
the work you guys and your team have done.
Mr. Ayon?
I think this is for Marvin. Marvin, who gets to decide what a school district implements, whether it's integrated math or traditional math?
Ultimately, you do.
Sorry,
Ultimately, the board.
the board. Thank you. Thank you. That's,
However,
yes.
we would hope that you would listen carefully to the recommendations of the staff.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you would adopt the coursework.
Okay. Okay, good. And I'm not an expert on math adoption, but I do know numbers, and numbers are 15%, 1-5 of our kids meet math standards. That's a F minus, 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 keep going. Meaning what we're doing is not working. 0, not working. Sorry, not working. The other thing, when you go to college, our top kids that go to college are 15%, 20% that go to college 4-year. Guess what? They're taking algebra. They're taking geometry. They're taking trig. They're taking calculus. They're not taking integrated math, right? And then what happens? Oh, they're not at level. They have to take remediation classes. So what happened to K through 12? And these are our top kids. I'm not saying these are our top kids, the ones that go to the universities we all the signs are out for. And as far as I really do think we need to go back to the basics to teach traditional math so that the kids actually get these concepts and move forward, right? Because at the end of the day, it could hardly get worse than 15%. I mean, I guess it could get to 0, but I mean, it's not working as one board member. And we have a math teacher here that I'm sure could elaborate more. I'm not even sure what she's going to say, but this is what I'm saying, that this isn't working, that we should, and we always talk about standardization. I forget what the word is, but basically it's, the kids that are in 7th and 8th grade, who, by the way, we get a bunch that are D's and F students, but anyway, that it should be a progression, right? It should go from La Gloria grade school to middle school to high school. There should be a progression. And we've been trying to really focus on that progression because there hasn't been a progression. You can see the statistics, it's clear. So, and sorry, Marvin, just the last thing I want to say is that progression, the more important progression in my estimation is the one from high school to college. That's really the more important progression that we should focus on. And that's the one that I believe our school is failing at in regards to math. Yes.
I do. I'm just wondering if we could provide an analysis of, I'm not sure what year you transitioned to integrated math, but, and I don't know whether the data that Caesar is referring to has been consistent over that time. In other words, the same assessment measures, but if they are, perhaps we could provide some analysis of performance pre-transition to integrated math so that we could begin to understand really whether or not the scores are related to the curriculum or to some other factor.
But wouldn't this be a process that's going to take years to figure out? Because I'm assuming that if we change any curriculum for math, it's going to take the kids that went through the program already, it's kind of late for them, but it's the new grades or the new generations that are coming that are going to give us new results. Did I make sense?
Can you speak up, Jose?
We couldn't hear you.
I just wanted to see if perhaps, I know that Laura has been working very closely with our math department, so I wanted to see if this is something that has been in discussion with our teachers.
So I met with your middle school and high school teachers Thursday, and we actually did do alignment looking at what are the needed skills as you exit one grade and entering another grade to make sure that these last few weeks of school, students are being prepared for what's coming next. Yes, test scores have been low consistently. You have 3 years of worth of SBAC data pre-pandemic that you can look at and apply to. Just knowing that what we're coming out of currently, teachers have expressed that there are gaps in what students have picked up and retained as they were taught online. And they're doing their best to provide interventions just in time as they can. So what I'm seeing as a plan from the district has been really focusing on making sure that teachers are getting the skills that they need, the support that they need, so they can provide high quality instruction. The framework does not say traditional versus integrated. It doesn't give it says either pathway works. So that is truly up to the board to look at and decide with input from teachers and parents as to how that works, and as well as colleges as well, because you're not the only integrated math district. There are districts all over California who are using that with varying degrees of success. So you have to decide what works best for your students, your population, your families, your teachers. So I just wanted to provide some clarity on that.
I have a question. And how is that going to impact the new standardized? Well, I know that like the California State University system and the UC system, they're getting rid of some of these standardized testing that covers math in it. I guess that's how, we would have to have that conversation as well. How do we, adopt the right program of math for our district? And it's gonna, wow. Thank you. Anyhow, thank you.
So I believe I heard that you're wondering how they're no longer considering standardized testing for college admissions for the CSUs. Is that what I just want to confirm that?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, my throat's not.
No, it's not you. I think where I'm standing in the room, it's a little quiet. But so while the CSUs are no longer considering the SATs and the ACT, we are still required to take the SBAC in the 11th grade as well, and 3rd through 8th grade. So students will take the SBAC, so they're taking a math performance test and computer adaptive test from 3rd grade through 8th grade, and then again in 11th grade based on 9th and 10th grade content. So that will not change, and that's one of the measures of growth and progress in the state of California, and is also logged on the California dashboard for all schools. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Araceli? So I'm not going to sit here and in any way pretend that I know anything about math. I know 2 + 2 in my division, and I'm a cadet long division. What I do know is that my belief is that the people teaching the math, the people on the front lines doing the work. So in my thinking, it's your teachers and your coaches and your school staff who are in the classroom trying to teach our kids how to do these long divisions and fractions and graphing. I would love to hear and know what their feedback is, because they're going to know what works best for our students, because they're the ones teaching our students. They're the ones asking for the feedback. They're the one asking the coaches for help, the admin. And so I look forward to hearing what the feedback is from the group of teachers and other staff members. I'd like to hear what their feedback is on what the struggles are. I can tell you what my child's struggle is, but my child is one of thousands in this district. And so I think teachers, well, I'm assuming teachers have a better perspective as to what frameworks or what math curriculum, whatever it's called. I assume that they're going to know what's going to work best for the kids that we serve, because we have a lot of teachers who have been here for many years, and they're going to know we've done this for 10 years. It's been a struggle, and they know their kids. And so I look forward, I don't know if we get a report that gives their feedback, if that's part of your timeline. Math is my arch nemesis. And so I do look forward to hearing whatever feedback that team brings to us, because that's ultimately who I'm going to trust in knowing what needs to be done there. So thank you.
And I just want to say that we will be collecting that feedback. So as we look at the curriculum that will be piloted, we will have meetings with the staff, and they'll provide feedback on all of the different areas.
I guess my only recommendation would be, or my only concern would be to make sure that it's just not overcomplicated.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know how that applies to math, but don't make it harder than it needs to be. That's my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
First, I want to say, finally, this is something I've been asking for since I came on the board. And I can say, you talk about experts. I taught math at the middle school and I taught math here at the high school. We have no fluidity. We use Go Math at the middle school and we use MVP. Two entirely different programs. You want to know why our math scores are so low? Because you're going with two entirely different curriculums. So I'm hoping that we have a same program for middle school and high school. That is something that is not just a want, but it's a need. We need that. Our kids are not going to excel if we're providing two different programs. One is based on performance tasks and the other one's based on computation. And with math and moving, even with the frameworks, having gone through a math adoption myself, that's why I was pushing this, because even with the frameworks, I know going through a math adoption, we didn't really need it for the high school to wait for the frameworks. I know we needed it for the middle school, but not for the high school. And that's where we're getting a lot of our students that need the intervention. So I'd really like to make sure that we have a program that when we reach out to our publishers, that has a built-in intervention, that has those performance tasks in them, that students can use for real world problems. I use them with my own students, programs where we can build in those honors programs for our students who excel, because I think a lot of our students who are excelling are getting bored, and we don't have that. We don't have any honors programs, and we can't build on having statistics and other higher ed programs because we are stuck with our intervention. But if we have it built into the curriculum, like a lot of other schools do, then we are able to provide the intervention in class with the math teachers. Like I said, I've been in the math department here and at the middle school, and it was lacking. A lot more is done with our data analysis. We all know, I'm teaching math. We all know kids can use a calculator. We all can use a calculator, but how are we transitioning to that? So I know with the new curriculums coming out that we will have that. And Mr. Ion will be happy to see a lot of our curriculums are available online. So the students have their book online. We don't have to worry about having that hard copy there. And guess what? When things change, guess what the publishers have to do? They have to update the application, and that is as easy as it is. So I'm glad to finally see this. I'm excited to hopefully see and get the data after a couple of years, because I think going back and I do agree with Caesar, going back to an AGA formula, which is algebra, geometry, algebra 2, is going to benefit our students. I think having them set up at the middle school to go up to that, and then us picking up at the high school is going to improve with our students. So thank you.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
I just wanted to add to that, definitely why we want to be thoughtful in this process. The recommendation has been for us to wait. What we've learned previously with our previous math adoption is that it was adopted and then Common Core hit, right? And so then we needed to look at the material to incorporate what was missing. And that became frustrating for our teachers, because not only were they learning a new curriculum, but now they needed to see what it was missing so that they could add other resources. And so we definitely want to ensure that we are thoughtful throughout this process, and that we support the teachers as best as we can, and not make them more frustrated, but support and ensure that they have the right tools that they need.
Yolanda and Madam President, can I ask further clarification, please?
Go ahead, Jose.
Sorry, Yolanda, I think, when I agree with that, I don't know much about math. But one of the things that I do remember is that if my English comprehension was not well, I was gonna fail. So how does English, the language in arts, and specifically English, contribute to the failure or the success of our students in this subject matter?
You'll see, Jose, and I'm sorry, Yolanda,
No, you're good.
only going through a book adoption myself, you will see a lot of the publishers now provide vocabulary lists in Spanish. I've given it to my own students. And out of the adoptions that we've looked at, I didn't see one that didn't have one.
Yeah, because
So,
it's like a foreign language. If our students are coming from, other countries where English is not their primary language, and they're learning the basics, and now you're throwing math on top of that, it's no wonder they don't succeed.
Yes, that's definitely an area that we need to be conscientious of, because as we look through curriculum, we have a lot of English learners, and those are the strategies and supports that we need to look at to ensure the curriculum has what our students need.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Cesar has one last one.
I would like to invoke my Jose clause and interrupt.
And after this, we're going
So yeah, thanks Jose for allowing me to interrupt, since I'm blaming you for doing it. Yeah, I know, and going to Jose's point, obviously, if we are able to get these books online, then the translation then would be available online as well, because we do have a lot of kids that English is not a strong suit. And I always brag on the newcomers that come from Mexico. They run circles around our kids, right? And we spent like $2 on them, compared to what we spent on our kids, right? But in math and science, circles, they could be teaching the class, right? Unless it's a word problem, that's a problem, right? But if it's just simple division, multiplication, all that stuff, those guys are geniuses, the ones that come from there. I mean, that's a bigger issue. We need to maybe go over there and do some PD over there and see what they do. And then maybe start, La Gloria here, but that's a longer discussion, but yeah, for sure. Let's not hamstring our kids that come from Mexico or other countries, right, that don't speak English, where their math and science is through the roof. Let's help them continue that so that in college they can be PhDs and all that. Anyway, I'm going all over the place, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. And just in respect of time, I'm going to ask the board to respect their speaking time. So when I call upon you, please have all your questions ready. Thank you. Just as a reminder. Moving on to 8.4, Parent Engagement Liaison, Ms. Vallejo.
I've been waiting to hear from her.
Hello, everybody.
Move your mic un poquito más para abajo.
Well, I just want to be tall today. I don't know how to use this. Miss Barbara, can you help me?
Stepping stone. There you go.
Everybody's getting their one round of questions.
So good afternoon. My name is Sonia Vallejo. I'm the Parent Engagement Community Liaison from the district. And one of my goals is to work and support our LCAP goal. It's number 4, and it's getting parents involved in the children's education. Also, I'm here to support en all cafecitos, parent meeting, parent events, workshops, and meetings like ELAC, DLAC, and whatever the teachers need me so I can support them. I also do parent meetings and events, including community outreach and workshops. And if you see in the screen, we do Saturday workshops, and with 50 parents attending those meetings. The Padre a Padre, we've been doing 3 and a total of 30 parents. And food distribution with other community agencies. We've been serving 500 families, I'm sorry. And with the McKean Evento, it's like 20 families. And we can go to the next slide. I also ensure disputes are I'm the mediator between parents and school staff. That's kind of tough, but I'm there. And what I wanted to say about the McKean event, I've been helping the parents with assistance, helping families to navigate for the school system, inform the parents of all available transportations and services that we have assigned for them. And we provide transportation, we provide school supplies, whatever the needs for the students and the family that there are in this category. And this is one of the surveys that I asked the parents to see. You know, the first one, it was kind of easy. Just I wanted to know, what are we doing well? What should we change? And what can we add for them and their kids to be successful? And these are some of the answers that we have, you know, for the parents. And the parent response showed the following themes: and what are we doing well, and the things that we need to change, and things that we can add to this. Next slide. And we have 316 students in our district who qualify as McKinney-Vento based on the information from their residency questionnaire. And we did another survey and we collect 86 responses. And since I told you guys already, but this is the stuff that we do for them, like school supplies, shoes, clothes, transportation, food, rent assistance, access to the services that we don't have here. So I provide the parents with agencies that are out of the Gonzales. And we also have two students that they buy by themselves. They don't have I cannot pronounce that word. It's kind of
Any minors?
yes. For we have two of those students right here, and we've been working with them too. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we highly fortunate to be part of this community with really great kids and parents who wants the best for them, and that they really want to work with us and they want us to support them. Any questions?
Jose, any
Yeah.
questions?
Yes, a couple. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Sonia, for your presentation. I know this is the first time you present to us. This is a new position in our district that, you know, the previous board and this board, you know, gladly support, because ultimately, I think I can speak on behalf of all the board members. It's good. It's that you're there to support each one of our students and their families to be successful. Now, in your experience of reaching out to our families, I saw the list of things that, you know, that they're, you know, giving us kudos for doing good outreach, or at least attempting to get them more involved. But can you share maybe if you have any particular more concrete examples of how we as the board can support you in this position, so that our students are successful? Do you have anything more specific? I know we have the Padre a Padre, but I don't know what other parents in our community have shared with you.
Well, I'm trying to, I've been taking parents to a conference too, you know, so they can get a little bit more not educated because it's not that, but more knowledge about what you guys doing and what the school is doing. Sadly, this time it was I did CAVE in the district office. We have a lot of fun, but I mean, I can see that some of our parents, they never go to another place farther than Salinas.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, they were like super excited because they were gonna go, it was gonna be in San Francisco, and it was like so nice when the parents came and asked me, oh, I have my purse ready to go and I got new glasses. And I say, oh, I have to tell you something, we're not going anywhere. It's gonna be here, but we're gonna have the same fun. So, we get together after the conference and they still wanna meet one more time because they think, they learn a lot in those kind of conferences. And I will love to, take them to more conference and do more stuff with them. I know that we're doing Padre a Padre, and the last one, it was not really successful, but I'm not gonna give up. Just to let you know, we're gonna keep trying. And I have, a lot of things that I wanna do with the parents, and not only the parents, just, the mothers too. So,
Maybe some in the summer, also, if you can think of ways that this summer we can prepare our families or the mothers and fathers and the students to get ready for the incoming school year and how we can work with them to get them ready for the first day.
Yeah.
I think
I'm sorry, Jose. I was planning to do a workshop next week or not the following week, maybe before the end of May. So I want to prepare the parents with the enrollment, the one that it's gonna be online. And I want to provide the parents with the new stuff that we're gonna implement in the new school year.
And I think part of what I see envision your work is making our families become literate in technology and being able to access our educational system. Although as good or bad as it may be, there's a system. And how do we get our parents to not be afraid, or how to access that information, because it's there, but they don't know the language, they don't know the words, what to ask for. So I think it's beginning to, this is a long process that's gonna take years to get our community, especially our new families that move into our community, literate in the educational bureaucratic system of knowing how to ask the right questions in order to get access to an effective educational system. So thank you for that. And just want to tell you that I'm very excited that you're collaborating with us on this. And I see the hard work you do with all our families, especially with Padre and Padre. So, and yes, don't give up. It's going to be like tidal waves. They're going to be highs and lows, but we have to get our community, our families need to understand that for our students to be successful, they have to be more engaged as well.
Yeah, thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Sonia, for your presentation. It's, I think the job that you do is really important. When you connect people that have nowhere to go, sometimes literally, right? And you connect them to the school, to the different resources. And you have the type of personality that I know that, is welcoming. I can't thank you enough for what you do.
And I just wanted to say something at the beginning of, start talking with the families. There were days that I was going home crying. And I just, think I have to learn how to separate my work from my house, but it was kind of hard because I know this is our families and we all work together for them.
And I love your self evaluation. I think the district could do well to use this, really. What are we doing well? What should we change? What should we add? I love it. Can this be an evaluation for everybody, please, including the board? I think it could only help us. I love it. It's concise, it's effective, and it has pretty much everything you need. You should do PDs, really. Once you retire, do PDs. I encourage you.
Oh, I can start. I don't have to wait until
That's
I
right.
retire.
That's right. And some of you guys might know that I'm a little bit of a budget grouch, I guess you could say. But my opinion is, what you need, let's be realistic. Let's talk turkey. You need money. You need budget. You need budget for all these activities. They don't get done for free. I'm one voice and one vote, but my voice is, let's fund you. I don't know if you have a budget, but if you do have a budget, let's increase that budget.
I have a budget.
Okay, and if you don't have a budget, let's give this wonderful staff person a budget, please. Board, thank you.
Araceli.
So first of all, I want to applaud you, Sonia, for doing the work that you do. I am very familiar with this job, and separating your heart and soul from the work you do is very difficult, but it's what makes you human, and it's what makes you good at what you do. For me, two kids who have no one is two kids too many in this town. We are small enough to where we should be able to take care of two kids who are here unaccompanied. And we are a community that should be rallying together for kids like that. My question is, when you are meeting with these families and you're providing these services, where are you doing this? Because my concern for some families is that I would hope that we can be able to provide them with a safe and confidential space where they can come and see you and get the help that they need without having to feel like they're being looked at, judged, or seen, because we are small. So everyone sees who comes in and out of that district. So that's my first question is, where do you meet with these families, and do you feel it's safe enough? Because kind of going back on what Cesar is saying and supporting what you do, my hope is that we can get a space where you have everything you need to support the families that you're seeing. And so where do you meet with them now?
Some of the families go to the district, but some of them we get together in the park, or we get together somewhere else when, like you say, they don't see them, because since we're small, they're not afraid, but they're embarrassed about their situations, because some of them are like very, very, delicate. And I just, or I ask them, where you want to go, and when we go somewhere else, so we don't have to be at the district office. But I mean, if it's like a family that is just, asking for resources or something like that, they just go straight to my office and we can meet in there. Sometimes the families ask me, can we meet at McDonald's, or can we meet, somewhere else so nobody can see me? And, I just say yes, and I always say where I'm going in case that they're looking for me, so they know that I'm somewhere, talking to a family or helping some of these families. And like some of the McKean event families, they're very, very humble people, but at the same time, they don't want to ask for help because they think that we're gonna turn them back, and we're not gonna help us. So far, we will helping, and I know Candice was my partner in crime for a little bit, so we were doing stuff together, and we will, trying our best to support those families. And I really, think that I have the support of Miss Barba and the people that it's inside the district, that I just say I have a problem with this family, and they don't ask me questions until I just go to them and I explain, what I can explain.
Mhm.
because I don't tell them everything.
Good. Qué bueno.
No, I'm just,
As
explaining
it should be.
what it's, maybe that I went somewhere and I take a little bit longer and it was because this, but I mean, that's it, I can tell you. No more.
Good. The 360 McKinney-Vento count is, I think, the most shocking to me. It's very disheartening to know that we have 360 students who fit the McKinney-Vento criteria. And so I definitely would like to know if this is something that we're going to support in the future and continue to support. I definitely would like to know if you can provide us with some kind of, I'd like to say maybe a wish list, maybe. Give us a needs assessment from your perspective on how we as a district could better support what you're doing. Because I do believe that educated parents equals educated students, equals educated families, equals educated community. And so I would like to maybe see if we can do a needs assessment to where, from your perspective, what you would need to better help you serve these families in a way that is safe, protective, but also that is supportive of them and their needs. We are a small community with lots of resources. Candace is the resource queen. And I do think we are in a community where at the end of the day, we have enough to help each other. And so I don't know how you guys feel, but I would really be interested in seeing a needs assessment from you on how we can support you in being able to really do your job effectively to where it sticks. So thank you so much for all you do.
And also that it doesn't burn her out.
Oh, well, yeah.
Thank you, Sonia. So I have a couple of questions. Number one, is there a schedule? Are you at sites on certain days or are you just at the district office?
I'm at the district office, but I check every day my students, the ones that I'm working with or the families that I'm working with. And I spend a lot of time at the sites too.
Okay.
So like if Miss Dietrich call me and ask me for help, I mean, I just, go over there, or sometimes I go to Fairview. So I've been, pulling myself to the tree.
No, and the reason why I asked is because I want to know how parents get access to, have we advertised? And I know that's probably not big. Have we advertised, hey, we do have a parent liaison if you have questions? Because I'm sure you've helped a lot of families, but I know there's probably families that aren't aware that we have a parent liaison who's there to access if you have questions. What type of outreach have we done to make our parents aware that we do have a parent liaison?
I appear in every meeting.
No, but I'm just saying, and you know what, that's why I applaud you, because I go to the district office every week, and I asked Sonia one week, I said, wow, thank you for staying. We had a late meeting that night, and the next day, and I said, wow, thank you for staying. She goes, well, if I'm not there to get the information firsthand, how am I supposed to pass it down to my families? And I was just, in awe. So I appreciate you doing that. But in that sense, we want to make sure that parents have access to her. My thinking, I know you guys are talking about budget, is in the future, as we move forward, are we going to need more than one parent liaison to assist sites instead of the whole district?
Yes.
I think which will help with communications is once we're able to get hopefully Parent Square in, she will have access to that and can put out the information, because with Parent Square, you can text parents. All they have to do is sign up, and that goes out, and that comes directly from you. So they get that. So that would help out a lot. But like I said, I think making sure parents have access to you is important. And that we provide the resources that you need to do your job thoroughly, because the last thing we want to do is set you up and not, and I see you running around and doing everything. So I don't want to spread you thin. So just FYI to my fellow board members, that may be something we need to look at in the future is in the near future is maybe if we need another parent liaison with everything that she's doing. It's like a hodgepodge of everything and we can have that. So just food for thought.
Yes. And maybe even your own little golf cart, because I can't imagine you're walking to every single site. So
Okay. Well, we're gonna stay in line. We're gonna stay in line. Okay. Did you have anything, Marvin, for? Okay. Thank you, Sonia.
thank you, Sonia.
You're welcome. And I just wanted to say something. I'm working in brochure for the parents too, and as soon as it's ready, I will show it to you too.
Excellent.
And I also wanted to say thank you. I really, really love my job. And I really love to help my parents and my students. And I give 100% every day.
It shows.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
So-
you.
Yes.
Board press.
Set up like a store, and the person's invited to the school, to the classroom, where they can walk and choose what they want. School donate money to the school through that program. Maybe they can assist you too, and texting my daughter, it's called All in Monterey. Like I said, school works with them, they provide all the stuff in the way. And then the teachers and staff will send referrals to, if they find a need, and refer them to that classroom.
We have a little like a pantry because since my office it's not big and but I mean if a family is in need of that food, we have that resource too.
But definitely we can look into all in Monterey.
And one Friday a month we give food for the families with the Salvation Army, and on Sunday, this coming Sunday, we're gonna be at Fairview and we pass 200 bags of food or whatever they need for families. And that's what we do. We put tables and we have different staff. And like you say, they pick whatever they need. So if let's say me, I need a soap for my dishes, or I need like shampoo. So I can get whatever I need, and whatever I don't need, it's there in the table, and another family can come and get whatever families are in need.
Well, it's something that we can look at. Thank you. So we have, and I know Ms. Barbara wrote it down. So thank you, Sonia.
So I do want to add that I've made note of the board's interest in the program. We'll begin discussing it tomorrow, and what you can expect is to see some proposal coming forward through the budget development process and the budget presentation.
Perfect.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Moving on to item 8.5, Virtual Academy proposal, Ms. Barba.
Oh, we do have a public comment on that real quick.
I think the public comment comes after her.
Oh, does it?
After her
presentation. Go for it.
Okay. Good evening again. I will be actually presenting to you a proposal for a 22-23 virtual academy in our district. So in looking at why create a virtual academy, this essentially will allow our district to have an alternative school of choice. When our schools closed due to the pandemic, it allowed for virtual opportunities. And what we've learned is some families and students actually liked it and it actually worked for them. And so as we move forward to next year, we have been receiving inquiries on other online options. This year, parents and students, they had the opportunity to enroll in independent study through AB 130 mandates. And that essentially was an assembly bill that accommodated students and families that didn't want to return to the traditional setting due to COVID-related reasons. This option, however, is only for this school year. And we still have students that are requesting virtual learning despite the availability of vaccines. So the current students that are in independent study, they've been surveyed and we have students that are still wanting to continue. So in looking at LaGloria students, we currently have 14 through AB 130. And out of those 14, 7 of them want to continue. At Fairview, we have a total of 18 in the independent study program and 6 of them want to continue. And at the high school, we have 25 students that are on independent study and 21 of those actually want to continue next year. And then we also have our traditional independent study program for reasons outside of COVID. Currently, there is 15 students set to continue for next year. So in really looking at those numbers, there's a total of students that are interested in continuing virtual learning. That's 34 plus the 15. And as you know, our enrollment has declined. And so we also have to take into consideration the students that are requesting for next year. If we don't have an option for them, perhaps we might lose them to other schools. For example, we learned this year that we lost some to Salina City, who had a virtual academy, and other online charter schools. We also have a survey that we put out to see who would be interested in a virtual academy option. And currently we have 27 students, families interested in that option. So how would the virtual academy be different from our regular independent study or distance learning? So with remote learning or distance learning and AB 130, it really was an emergency adaptation. So it wasn't specifically designed for long-term. It was really meant as a response to COVID quarantine, and it was a short-term solution. So this was implemented broadly for all of our students. So parents and families didn't have a choice. It was, this is what's going to happen, and they all went virtual. And it was also focused mainly on content delivery and bare necessity student supports. And when I say that, I mean that really none of us expected for us to go on online learning. It just happened quickly because it was a response to the pandemic. And so we supported teachers as best as we could. And we know our teachers did the best that they could with the resources that they had, but it was something new for all of us. And we learned as we went. And so looking at what a virtual academy would be, it would be specifically planned and implemented for long-term education. So it really is intended to be a full ongoing school that offers students and parents an alternative setting and approach. This would be a choice for parents and teachers that wanted to teach it. So this wouldn't be something that they would have to do. This is a choice that they would have. And it would be purposely designed to be an online school. So it would include best online teaching practices from the research. So who is eligible? As we propose this plan to you, we are looking to open it up to any Monterey County student, including GUSD in grades 6 through kindergarten through 6th grade. We would also offer it to students in special education, and that would be upon the recommendation of the IEP team. And then TK is specifically not included because of the developmental appropriateness and social emotional concerns. So essentially, we would open it up to any Monterey County student, which potentially means increasing ADA for our declining enrollment district. We're proposing to start with kinder through 6th grade because we want to really target our efforts Kindergarten through sixth grade is self-contained, which allows for us to be able to have a multi-subject teacher versus having to find single subject teachers for the various subjects. As interests grow, we hope to expand to the upper level grades as well. And I also want you to consider that the reason for that is that a virtual academy would be its own school. So we would need to adhere to local and state and federal requirements, such as a single plan of student achievement, a school accountability report card. We would need to have an ELAC, a school site council, a parent involvement plan, an LCAP, et cetera. So really, we're trying to be fiscally responsible and mindful of all the various requirements that really go into putting a school together. So what will a school day look like? There would be live daily instruction with a highly qualified GUSD teacher. There would be a requirement of instructional minutes. Lessons would be recorded for students so that they're able to review if needed. There would be social emotional learning lessons and activities to support the whole child. And then we also want to offer opportunities for the students to be able to come on campus for activities such as clubs, enrichment. We've looked at different models and we've also looked at our the close model of Salina City, and they've implemented this starting this year. And they started off with a low amount of students, but it increased rapidly. And so what will be taught? We would use the district adopted standards-based curriculum that's aligned with state testing and accountability requirements, because our students would still adhere to the testing requirements as well. It would be the academic requirements, grading, and attendance would mirror the traditional school setting. And so what supports will students and staff receive? They would have the same supports that our regular employees of our district and our students have. So for example, whether it be nutritional services, transportation to bus them here for activities, technology that they needed. And also our teachers would be included in our professional development PDs that we have. So they would be invited to come and do PLCs and be a part of professional development. So anything that we would offer our current teachers on campus, our teachers will receive those that are teaching virtually. So what are our next steps if this proposal is approved? In order for us to apply for a county district school code from the California Department of Education, we need board approval. And then as we move forward, we would need to come forth with a board approval of job descriptions. We are looking at a lead teacher currently to be able to support with the implementation of the program. And also really the reason we're looking at a lead teacher because it would be able to help with the implementation, but they would also be able to help with student caseload if needed. So we would then need to begin the staff recruiting and hiring process, then student recruitment, and then also look into what we need to move forward, such as purchasing curriculum, what equipment purchases do we need, and then also looking at our facilities preparation. So where would we house our virtual academy? We would need an office space, classroom. We would look at what would be available for us in our district. And that is our proposal.
Jose, any questions?
He is muted. I don't know if he's.
Jose, did you have any questions? I
Hello?
think you, oh, there you go.
Aileen. Thank you, Yolanda, for the presentation. It's a lot of good information and look forward to making it a reality for our district.
Thank you.
Caesar, any questions?
Yes. This would be its own school. It would have its own ELAC, school site council,
Yes.
everything. It would
Yes.
be Gonzales, Gonzales, like iPhone, iBook, right? It'd be Gonzales.
Perhaps.
That seems like a lot of overhead.
Mhm.
A lot of overhead. If we look at the numbers, right, we're at K through 6, and just the numbers, looking possibly 8 students, right? The numbers that we supplied, that we received. I mean,
Plus those that have filled out the survey, which K through 6, we had 10 that are interested.
10.
Mhm.
Okay, so 10 students. I'm not discounting
Mhm.
their those students at all. You know, all I'm saying is that, you know, in our district right now, we got a lot more than 10 kids that need help, probably in one class, right? And we have 2,400 kids, right? So to me, and our budget person is here, and when you take money from one side, the other side can't have money. That's how it goes, right? It's like a bucket. It's got a hole, you're gonna have less water. Just how it is. And so while the idea, I do like it on its face, I do, don't get me wrong. But to me, you know, it's those remediation classes that we don't have. Right? We don't have remediation classes, you know, for our English learners. Guess what? They're stuck in history class. It's in English. I wonder how that's going. Right? They're stuck in physics. It's in English. Right? They're stuck in English. It's in English.
Caesar, I'm gonna try to redirect because since the presentation, we're at questions. So if we have a question, then we'll do comments because we do have public comments. So if you have
Thank you.
a question, please.
Yes. Okay. So that was actually the preface to my question. And my question is, where's the budget from this? What would that be coming from?
So in looking at starting something like this and in looking at local districts that are also doing the same thing, they've utilized emergency funds. The one district that we worked very closely with to gather information to see what they've done to move forward. They actually have a really nice setup, but they started with one child and they said they celebrated the one child and they grew within days where they had to have a waiting list because they weren't able to accommodate all the students. I understand the concerns because we have some of those same concerns as well. We know that it's going to take a lot of work, and which is why we wanted to start with kinder through 6, because we want to ensure that if we do something like this, it's going to be successful and we're intentional and purposeful. So yes, we do agree with that. What we also think about is the ones who are requesting it, right? Because when I look at the numbers of the students that are requesting to continue to move into independent study or virtual learning next year, we're looking at we could perhaps lose another 20 students, right? And we are declining. And so that's also something we want to look at. We would want to open it up to other students, mostly South County, because we don't want to compete with the Salinas area. But if we open it up to South County, that would potentially bring also ADA. And so that's something that we have considered. As we move forward, we hope that the numbers also will grow to support in us continuing it. And in just looking at other districts and what they're offering, we also want to be able to offer alternative choices to our families, just to keep them in our district, right? We want to be able to provide the services that they need, and give them choices.
Jumping up here. Hi, Candace McFarland Camacho. We also had a handful of Chular students that also came on to our independent study program through an inter-district transfer this school year, because school districts were required through AB 130 to actually to offer independent study. It wasn't feasible for them for the handful of students that they had. So our district benefited from that ADA for this one school year. That's a taste of the potential. I can't promise, this huge return on investment, but in terms of the proposal that we were thinking, it was something that was going to be we're going to try to be as resourceful as possible, but really being thoughtful and starting smaller and then growing it. And the elementary aspect was the route to go. So we didn't have to replicate all the secondary programs and so forth if we don't necessarily have the interest just yet. So that was just one idea. And the declining enrollment, being a Gonzales Unified School District employee and resident, it worries me as well, because I know that's how we all pay the bills here. So just trying to think of creative alternative ways for us to re-engage families and bring them back to Gonzales when they're ready.
Thank you. And on that, I do have,
Another question?
yeah, just to clarify, so AB 130, it allowed kids, or actually, can you, I'm sorry, I don't want to interpret it.
No, it's okay.
Can you explain what AB 130 is?
Yes,
or
and
was?
oftentimes I like look off of my CDE information, but specifically it was a quick response to for COVID reasons. So distance learning as of June 30th of 2021 went away, and every district had to pop up with an independent study program. Some had them in place, some didn't. We're fortunate enough that we have Miss Jessica Loetta, who has been kind of our backbone of our independent study program. And we kind of, we used, I don't want to say used, but we replicated and she supported our program as we had these offshoots at all the different grade levels. At one time, when vaccines weren't necessarily available for our little ones, there was probably 80 to 90 students on an independent study this school year. It was a revolving door because they always have the classroom option. And when they were ready to go back, went back. And some weren't necessarily super successful. So they went back after doing some tiers of re-engagement, like some interventions. But yeah, I'm sorry. I think I got away from the question.
No, thank you. Is there anything to prevent these kids that are in independent study right now to continue?
We would probably have to dedicate additional FTE, so additional teachers. So either way, it would be essentially a cost. How we choose to do that, whether it be a program or a school, those are two different things. And I think there's advantages to both. But yeah.
So to offer those services, like just to try to paraphrase, is yes. The answer is yes. We can continue at a cost of a teacher.
Right. Potentially, right.
Which a cost of a teacher would be less than a cost of a school system.
Right, right. Well, and then remember too, that sometimes with these virtual spaces, it can be essentially out of a classroom. Like right now in our adult ed classroom, I have 3 teacher spaces of teachers working essentially in cubicles as they're virtually teaching, and I have a school secretary for adult schools. So there's a way, I think, if people are thoughtful about it, figuring out which programs we can leverage to kind of create kind of an ecosystem, I guess, of a school. I think that there's some potential for that if that's the route that we go, but it wouldn't be a huge footprint that would cost a lot of money with regard to maintenance and janitorial and those type of things. It could be an adjunct duty for perhaps an administrator if it got big enough. We've had Somavia in the past, which was a continuation school where that was a lead teacher that essentially oversaw the day-to-day. So there's kind of different models and things to do things that aren't necessarily the hugest cost, I think. So yeah, but I think initially starting off, that's why the lead teacher made sense, because that's someone that can also kind of earn their keep and have a caseload rather than having just the oversight, if that makes sense.
Right. I think, at least for me, and just
Question or comment? Comments are going to come later.
Uh-oh.
We are going to get a
I'm not fast enough to make it into a question, so I'll wait.
Ms. Flores, question.
Thank you for your presentation. I think this is a potential great idea. My first question is do we have a pool of teachers that are, lack of a better way of saying it, expert online? Is there a pool out there in the world that if this was to become something that we can look at, that teachers that actually do this online stuff, like?
That's a good question. We've had a couple of vacancies this school year with regard to independent study teacher virtual. We've had a lot of hits from folks. that if they could continue to do the work virtually, that's the honest truth. There's a gazillion charters around California and probably the nation that all do this kind of like for a for-profit kind of thing. So there's lots of virtual teachers that exist. If we want them to be super local, which they do exist as well, I mean, we would find them. Multi-subject teachers are a little bit more easy to come by than perhaps a math or science teacher.
And wanting to start this K through 6, you surveyed LGE, La Gloria, and 7 want to return. Then you have the traditional independent studies, the 15 students. Were any of those kids from K through 6?
No, they were not.
And so you would have right now a possible 21 kids interested in the K through 6. And not only that, but 6. Okay, because if making this into its own school, it would be K through 6. I'm thinking would 6 move into Fairview, but no. Okay.
I know, and we were also kind of doing the same with the next school year and how that would look with student numbers.
Okay. Do we know if any other South County districts are doing virtual academy of any kind?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know if you know any.
Because I think there's potential to.
Salina City started theirs this year, and we know that Alisal is also looking to start theirs next year.
But no South County schools,
South County, no.
specifically elementary level.
Correct. And I
Okay.
think the interest in Salinas is too high for them to open up to this area. So I know that like Alisal, for example, will open it up to students that live within their boundaries.
Okay.
So my question is regarding staffing. So to start, hypothetically, we started, you would need a lead teacher. And then we would need to develop all the other programs that go along with it, correct? So do we have a specific budget of what it would be for the 10 students that we are saying?
We just met our friend this morning.
Oh.
We haven't had that conversation just yet.
So that's why I was just saying, we don't have a budget to even, we're just.
Not yet, not a preliminary budget of like what we anticipate. We haven't got to that piece yet, but if there were seed money, like through COVID relief funds or something like that to begin, and then perhaps ADA to backfill, I may not be using the right terms and maybe talking prematurely, but
Yeah.
I think we could perhaps come back with that information if that's of interest.
Yolanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the purpose of your study tonight is to assess if there's interest on the board's part. If there is, then the next steps, perhaps as soon as the 24th, would bring forth more detailed information, including a preliminary budget.
Correct.
Just because to my knowledge, you haven't discussed this before as a board. So I think the only purpose is to assess whether there's any interest to put more energy into developing a proposal. This is not a proposal. It's not nearly far enough along to be a proposal. It's only
Just a
sticking a
conversation.
toe in the water to see if there's any interest.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Moving from board questions. Did you skip Jose? Because he's has.
No.
Yeah, no, we gave him the opportunity
Okay,
to
he
ask
did
a question. I'm going in order. Now that we've done our board questions, we're going to go to public comment.
Okay. So public comment from Isaias Morales. Good evening. I just want to say that a virtual academy would be nice to have here at GUSD. But before our new school is open, why not improve the schools we already have? Make them better. Make our schools more engaging and fun for our students. For example, in elementary school, why not bring back music and PE? When we had music and PE, our students enjoyed them very much. Why not bring a coding robotics class to the elementary school? Make our schools a place where students want to be every day. A virtual academy is a good idea, but don't open a school just to increase enrollment. Make what you already have a better place, and maybe that way your enrollment will increase. Bring back fun activities for our students. If a virtual academy is opened here at GUSD, I hope there is more than one teacher for every grade level, and class will be like an actual person class from 8 to 2. I personally have a student attend the Salinas City Virtual Academy, and she absolutely loves it. She has her teacher that is connected with them all day from 8 to 2. Salinas City Virtual Academy has more than 2 teachers for every grade level. My daughter has a music class, art class, dance class, coding robotics class, PE class, in-person voluntary swimming class, believe it or not, and she has even enjoyed being a part of the Spelling Bee Club. The Salinas City Virtual Academy has really made this virtual experience fun and engaging for their students. I asked my daughter if she wanted to come back in person to La Gloria, and she said no, because then she wouldnn't have the extra fun classes and activities like she has at the Salinas City Virtual Academy. As a parent, I'm very pleased with the Salinas City Virtual Academy. And if GUSD is thinking of having a virtual academy, I do hope it is similar to the Salinas City Virtual Academy. Geez, try to say that 10 times.
That wasn't planned either.
No, that's it. It was just one, right?
So seeing as that is complete on public comments, we're going to move on to board comments. Jose, you have a board comment?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for the presentation. I too am in agreement that, if I think it's important that we give our families options in education. Either we do it or somebody else is going to do it, and they're going to take the kids. So obviously this, like our superintendent was saying, it's just to, get a feel whether we want to engage in this kind of a business, which I think there is a market for it in our community. But we just want to make sure we develop it in a right and sustainable way that it's going to, benefit our community and our students ultimately. Obviously, it has to be accredited, right, Marvin? It falls
Be an
in-
elementary program.
and so there. Mhm.
There's no accreditation
There's
process
no
for it.
loss in that sense. So, okay.
That's why we would start also.
So anyhow, I'm for the idea of continuing to explore this possibility, and so yes.
Thank you, Jose. Caesar?
I am all for providing, excuse me, the most options that we can to our kids. I believe that the current setup now of independent study, I believe it's sufficient. I do. For the numbers, I think barring some type of, I think really what the district should focus is on having our kids here. I mean, oh my gosh, robotics, art, music, PE, coding. I want to go there. Can I go there tomorrow? I mean, if we had that here, guess what? A whole lot of kids would want to come here too, right? Because at the end of the day, we want kids here. How do we get kids here? Oh, let me see. Maybe robotics, art, music, PE, and coding in La Gloria. I don't know. That seems like a good idea to me. So I'm sorry for the, but I really do think that I fully agree with the public comment. I think it's powerful that he has a child, at the school, and it was, they were at La Gloria, and kids, I mean, and adults too, right? It's a simple thing. You have 10 options one place and you have 2 in the other. I wonder which one you're going to choose. Right? It's that simple. And I do think that what we need to focus on is bringing those programs back that we lost. I remember music at La Gloria. All the little kids playing the instruments. I mean, that was really cool. And then it was gone. I remember PE at La Gloria. That was really nice too. And then it was gone. So, I mean, these are not things that we haven't had. These are things that we just got rid of. That's where the focus should be, in my opinion. Bringing back the things we got rid of first, adding some more second, right? And down the line, perhaps, virtual academy, once we're solidified, right? You have to build the foundation first, right? You can't start building the walls before the foundation. We need to focus on the foundation, in my opinion, and then move forward. I commend where you're going. Obviously the what's it called? Salinas, the place in Salinas that offers the virtual academy. It looks like they're offering a really nice program, right? And I think that once we're ready for that is somewhere we should look at to see, well, how did you guys start it? What did you consider? How did you go about doing that, right? Best practices, right? Someone's doing something well.
Yeah.
You want to go and mimic that, right? I think once we're ready, I believe we're not ready, and evidenced by robotics, art, music, PE, coding. not in La Gloria.
Well, I'm just wondering too, Caesar,
Yes.
is it have to be either or? Why can't we do both at the same time? And I'm not sure what the bottleneck is, if it's funding or if it's, right? And so I don't know, but I have a child at the elementary school who's there personally. I mean, she's there too. I would love those things also for my child, but I'm also wondering, why can't we do both at the same time?
I
Don't
think-
know what the answer is, and I
Yeah.
don't know what the dollars are to even ask that question. I mean, to have the answer, but I think that our kids definitely deserve the best opportunities. And so,
Yes, I agree. I believe the answer is money, just like it's the answer to everything almost in this life. Quite honestly. And again, I go back to having those offerings first because it's priorities, right? And like you're saying, some of this staff, next thing you know, Yolanda might be doing some virtual academy stuff. Well, gee, she's got a district stuff to do as well, right? So all of a sudden you dilute.
well, there's some truth to that too.
Right? The folks that are here, unless you hire new people. Oh my God, look at that. That's money again. Right. And so that's the concern. I fully believe we just do not have the wherewithal currently to do that. I believe, we focus on robotics, arts, music, PE, and coding, according to our public comment first, to get those kids engaged in La Gloria and want them to continue to Fairview and the high school. Right. Once we get to that point, let's talk about the virtual academy. Thank you.
Also, I wanted to add, looking at their in-person schedule, right? Do they offer robotics, PE, art, and all of these things in person, or are these options available online? Because it's a different program and different schedule, different setup. So would a virtual academy give us the flexibility to be able to add some of those other things? Or just looking at comparing both, right? Is that what their in-person looks like versus their virtual? So that would be something that we can take a look at.
Araceli? So I think that if no one else is doing it, I think the fact that you guys are already looking into it puts us ahead of the game. I think that we can improve our sites and also come up with come up with ideas of what a virtual academy would look like. From my understanding, this is a conversation. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But I think that if this is something that we open the door to all South County K through 6, I think you can do something with that. And there's so much room to be creative. I think now even more so that is the time, because we don't know down the line if we're going to have the funds available. That COVID relief fund, emergency funds are eventually going to go away. So if those are monies that are available that can be invested in something like this, where we can create a very similar program, and it sounds like you guys are already talking to those people. If we can create something like this, because independent studies now, because my child's in it, is nothing. It's good, but it's nothing compared to what could be a virtual academy. And for a lot of kids in the field that I work with who have extreme amounts of anxiety, body dysphoria, and all kinds of stuff, who would prefer to go into independent studies, it'd be nice to have an independent, a virtual academy type thing where it actually gives an adequate level of education, So I think if you're looking into it, I'd be interested to see what the numbers look like. I'd be interested to see what that process is going to look like, what the needs are going to be. Is it something that is feasible for us? And so, before making an opinion, I would love to see how that's going to work out.
For sure.
So I do like the idea, but I'm on the same page as Caesar that I would love to see these programs here for the students, because if you were to check our inter-district transfers, I would bet, and I haven't seen them, and I haven't asked Marvin yet, but I would say a majority of it is because we have lost programs. So yes, these were 10 students we could save, but what about the rest of the students that we have now? We no longer have art, no longer have the music district wide. And we used to have all those programs here. Luis here, he had those were programs that were established here at the high school. We don't have anymore. And I'm just saying district wide, because yes, we're going to service K through 6, but let's focus on all of our students having access to these programs. And you have a parent that, and I know discount, they're at Salinas, they're taking their child here for those programs over there because we don't have them. We don't have them in school. And I don't know if we could replicate it online, because then we're not giving access to the students who go to school in person to those programs. And that really bothers me, having, not having those programs, the resources, the interventions that we're missing right now that I think that we need to be accessing to our students. That just, and not having the numbers. And I know it was informal, so we don't have the numbers, but I will tell you, you'd find a teacher. I don't know a teacher right now who wouldn't teach a class of 10. I would love to have a classroom of 10 students, and you can ask any teacher in this district. That would be amazing. Those are great. That's a really great ratio. However, then let's talk about reducing our class sizes in person. So those are all things from the teaching that I just, have some skepticism about. But like I said, it is but until we can replicate what we have here on campus, that just, doesn't sit well.
Okay, sure. So unfortunately, with 4 board members, I'm hearing 2 people who are interested in exploring further, and 2 people who are more interested in exploring options to improve the current on-site programming. And not to say that the 2 that are interested in exploring the virtual academy aren't also interested in on-site. I'm going to make an admission here. When I heard about this program, I thought that there had been some board discussion about it and some board interest in it. Had I known that this was the first time, this is a big, was there previously?
I was going to say, that's why
Oh.
we explored it, because
Okay,
because it was requested of us to explore.
okay.
Yes.
So it was by this board?
By our previous superintendent.
Okay. This is, I wouldn't call it a sea change, but it's close. It's a completely different delivery system. And I would want, if I were you, I'd want my permanent superintendent on board. And there's no way to move forward with it for the coming year and have somebody that's not coming on board until July 1st, because if you wait till July 1st to roll up your sleeves and get going, you're not going to be ready in the middle of August to start to open your doors, your virtual doors. I think there are several issues that I've heard that if you are going to continue to explore it, I think are primary. One is economy of scale. Salinas has an economy of scale that Gonzales doesn't. The second is efficacy. And the fact that people like it doesn't mean that it's effective. And so I've been out of the system for 7 years, but I read enough to know that remote learning is largely judged to have been less than in-person learning. So if I was a permanent superintendent here, I'd have to understand why this system would be superior. And I recognize that when virtual learning was thrust upon systems overnight, that the initial rollout was shaky at best, and that's to be expected. But a year and a half later, it was still shaky. And so I'd have to understand if I was and by shaky, I mean the effectiveness of the learning that it was delivering there's a lot of critical information about it that suggests that it wasn't as effective as in person. So I'd have to understand if I'm going to roll out a delivery system that is going to compete with my in-person learning, I'd have to believe that it's going to be as effective as my in-person learning system. So I just think there's so many questions that you need the primary instructional leader of your system, your superintendent, to be on board. And if I heard the board saying go heck or high water, I'd say that's what the board is, that's our marching orders. We're going to do it independent of whether you have your permanent superintendent sitting yet. But I'm not hearing that from the board. And so my concerns about not having your sitting superintendent on board and not having strong board support causes me to say, I think this is something that should continue to be explored, but perhaps not with a target date of next August, with first assessing the interest of and building consensus within the board with your governance team, your superintendent and your 5 board members. Is this something that you want to develop? And then if it is, trying to do that as early in the new year as possible so that you have a long planning process, because I think it's going to be really complicated to deliver a quality program with such a small scale. I think it's easier in a place like Salinas where they were able to hire staff because they were assured of their numbers. Here, you're not as assured of your numbers, and so you're going to bring in one staff member and then build and build, and that's a much more difficult thing to do than what they did. They were able to recruit their staff members all at once and train the heck out of them all at once, and to be prepared. I happen to have talked to the principal who was hired into that role, and so she gave me a little bit. This was probably a year ago, and they were actually more than a year ago, and it was a major effort on their system and a major commitment of resources, but they had the numbers to justify it, and you're not quite there yet. So so I apologize that I perhaps didn't pay as much attention, and maybe it was, again, the transition between a former superintendent and an interim superintendent. So you had a former superintendent who had interest, gave direction to staff to develop proposal, but perhaps the board interest wasn't gauged, wasn't understood.
Is there a way to, sorry.
I'm sorry, I always take a long time to say something.
Email them?
I will.
Just because.
I will email. No,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Evan. I
you.
appreciate that. All those years of service, knowledge at its finest. 8.6, to inform the board of miscellaneous personnel assignment order number 21-22-40 volunteer listing. Mr. Galicia? That's pretty straightforward, I think. Attached to that, right?
Good evening, Superintendent Biassari, Board President and board members, as well as committee members. I am Dr. Hector Galicia, Director of Human Resources. And this is just an informational item informing you annually of our volunteers that serve our school sites. You have a laundry list of about almost 3 pages, as you can see. And during the school year, they have volunteered on a number of occasions, whether it's field trips, whether it's in the classroom, and thus far. We have actually suspended some of those activities this past year, early in the year due to COVID, but yet now that they're on our system, they're fingerprinted, they will be considered to start off next school year as well. So there's more an informational piece. We definitely want to recognize those volunteers that come onto our sites and provide support to our staff and to our students, and encourage them to continue to do that as well for the next school year and years on.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Jose, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Caesar, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Araceli, any
No
questions? I have no questions. Is there any public comment?
Public comment.
No public comment. I will go ahead and open up to board comments. Jose, do you have a comment?
Hey, sorry. Yes, I have a couple of comments. These are governance comments, right?
You have a comment?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, it's the microphone in this thing, and then my voice is like, ugh. Okay, just quickly, I wanted to thank our staff for, thinking outside the box and being creative and trying to, move think in the future way of reaching every family, every student in their own different needs. Everybody learns differently in different ways. So, hey, you know, maybe online learning for some works better than others. So I think offering a variety is my approach to serving our community.
Jose, are you giving a comment on our
Our
personnel assignment order? That's what we're giving comment on.
Sorry, I thought you were doing governance comments. That's why I asked at the beginning.
No. We're doing comments on the volunteer list.
Oh, we're not done. We're not done. We're just starting.
Yeah. The volunteer list that Dr. Galicia just gave.
Perdón.
No comment?
No. That's why I said no comment.
Okay. Caesar, comment?
Yes, I do have a comment for agenda item 8.6 to make it clear. Thank you, Mr. Galicia. I just did some quick math. It's 142 on the list of volunteers. That's folks that do it for free, guys. That's amazing.
Well, that also includes some interns, student teachers, because they also need to be processed.
Yeah.
So it's not only including just our parents or community members, it also includes, some of our student teachers, some student interns, and thus far.
Right. And so, I mean, the amount of work, from 142 people, I'm really impressed. I want to thank each and every single one of them, even if they're interns, it's still, they're putting in their time. They're helping our kids, that we have 2,400 kids or so. Out of that, 142 people are raising their hand and say, how can I help? I'm going to go and help, whether it's a field trip, whether it's, I see Miss Reels there, choir, all those things. And Marvin, you're saying about WASC and that our kids are, outstanding. I agree. And I think part of that is the support that they get, right? From the teachers, from the volunteers, from staff, right? That's part of it as well, right? They're developing socially and emotionally and everything like that. So I want to personally thank all those volunteers on the list for that reason. Thank you for bringing that list.
You're welcome.
Ms. Flores?
Comment. Thank you.
No, thank you, Hector. And again, thank you to all the volunteers on the list that are there. Like a majority, even some of our interns, they do not get paid. So even though they're on as an intern, they do not get paid. So thank you for stepping up and being there for our kids. Okay, I'm moving on to item 9, consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and are acted on by the Board of Trustees in one motion. There's no discussion of these items prior to the board action unless a member of the board, staff, or public requests specific items to be discussed and or removed for the consent agenda. It is understood that the administration recommends approval of all consent items. Each item on the consent agenda approved by the Board of Trustees shall be deemed to have been considered in full and adopted and recommended. So can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move, Araceli.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second by me, Mr. Lopez.
second by Mr. Lopez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Passes. Moving on to item 10, action items. Okay, 10.1, adoption of resolution number 2021-22-20, observing May 2nd through the 6th, 2022 as Teachers Week. Staff report.
Only to to remind you that I had mentioned this the previous meeting that we'd be bringing it forward, even though we missed the date for the proclamation or the resolution, we did celebrate the event.
Thank you. Board questions. Jose, do you have a question?
No, thank you.
Caesar, question?
No question.
Araceli, question?
No.
I have no questions. Is there any public comments?
None.
No public comments. Opening it up to board comments. Jose, do you have a comment?
No comment.
Caesar, comment?
I do have a comment. A lot of people see me around schools and then they say, why are you not a teacher? And I say, well, do you know how many kids teachers have? And sometimes the kids themselves ask me this, right? They're students. And I said, well, how would you like to have 150 kids every day? They're like, what? I'm all, oh yeah, 30 times 5. What's that? 150. That's how many kids you have every single day. How would you like to do that? Oh, no, no way. I'm like, now you have your answer. That's why. Anyway, I want to commend every teacher out there. You know, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here and your hard work. And we have a teacher right now currently working hard and at the board meeting. That's right. That's right. So anyway, yeah, thank you. Thank you all to all your teachers out there.
Yes, it's, my only comment is that it's a really tough job and I am grateful and appreciative of every single one. So thank you for the work that you do.
My comment is just like my fellow board members, I want to thank all the amazing teachers we have that work in our district. I have had the privileges working with so many, and they are truly here for our students. So thank you to all of our teachers, La Gloria, Fairview, and the high school for continuing to, and the preschool for continuing to do, and the adult school. Continuing to be here and stepping up. I think I told Mr. Ion this before. I found very little teachers who says, yes, I got into teaching for the salary. It truly is a work of the heart. So thank you to all of our teachers that continue to step up and be here for our students. Can I get a motion to approve 10.1?
So moved.
Second, Araceli.
Move by Caesar, second by Araceli.
The resolution.
Oh, it's a resolution. We have to take a roll call vote. Sorry. Forgot.
Celeste Daniel,
Yes.
Araceli Flores.
Yes.
Cesar Yon,
Yes.
Jose Lopez.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Moving on to 10.2, adoption of resolution number 2021-22-21, observing May 16th through the 22nd, 2022 as classified employee week. Staff report.
Just to say we are on time with this one and we have plans to finally I'm being shown something. Do you want to tell me what you're showing? here?
Sure. The actual agenda item addresses it as observing May 16th through the 22nd, but CDE, I stand corrected that it's from the 15th through the 21st.
Okay.
The resolution itself is correct.
Okay. So next week, we will be celebrating our classified partners in our educational endeavors. And I'm sure you have some nice comments now that they would love to hear.
Thank you. Board questions. Jose, did you have a question?
No, thank you.
Caesar, question?
No question.
Nope. No questions. We're going to open up to public comment. Any public comments? No public comments. Board comments. Jose, comment?
No, not right now.
Okay. Caesar, question? Comment?
Yes, I do. As many of you guys know, I subbed for almost 10 years here, and I can tell you, and when I say here, I mean in the district, all 3 schools. And I can tell you, I'm thanking the teachers previously, but who makes the trains run on time every day? Classified. Go to the office and find out, right? Sometimes it's a miracle that there's actually somebody in the classroom teaching and kids there as well. And these folks every day, every single day, it's like putting out a fire. It's amazing what they do. And we cannot thank you enough, in my estimation.
Thank you. Araceli?
Classified is the backbone of districts. Without classified, we wouldn't be able to run as a school. And so I think during COVID, they were one of the hardest working people out there. And so I just think classified is, you guys do so much and we are grateful to have you. So thank you.
Yeah, again, thank you to all our, I like to call them our classified staff, because they are definitely the heart of the schools, having been classified previously and working with classified. I know Ms. Vallejo left. She was an aide of mine when I was in the school, and man, she was amazing. So that just shows the commitment of our classified staff. So thank you. And I'm so glad we get to celebrate you ahead of time and acknowledge that. So thank you for having that on there.
Can I make one more comment?
Of course.
So, you know this, but, and I think everybody knows it if they think about it, but most of us never think about how complex school systems are. Try and think of another entity that's responsible for getting their clients to the service, that's responsible for feeding them, that's responsible for ensuring their safety, that's responsible for communicating with their caregivers, et cetera, et cetera. And all of that, except the core, which is what we all focus on, the learning, almost all of the other responsibilities are carried out by classified staff. So what made me think of it is when you said they're the backbone, they truly are. Without them, the system would still exist. It just would be a shell of what it is with all of their support. So your comments are right on.
Thank you, Marvin. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a roll call vote for our resolution.
Board President Celestino,
Yes.
Board Clerk Araceli Flores.
Yes.
Board Member Jose Lopez,
Yes.
Board Member Cesar Ayala.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 10.3, adoption of resolution number 2021-22-22, authorizing participation in the rural school bus pilot project. Staff report?
Trini, would you mind saying a couple of words? This is an important opportunity.
Good evening. Yes, I would just like to inform the board in regards to this application and, that it was submitted about 18 months ago. And this is a donation from the school pilot program for a rural. So it's going to be a donation grant for a bus, electric bus. So this will be the third bus that the district gets. And we're happy, and it should be delivered. Probably we're hoping to have it in service before school starts.
Excellent. Thank you,
Nice.
Trini.
Any
Yes, good
questions?
job.
Jose, a question?
No, thank you.
No question. Caesar, question?
How'd you guys get the grant?
Oh, it's reaching out and just following all the opportunities that are offered by the Air Pollution Resource Board. I belong to the I don't want to say a club, but it's a group that that's how we got the other two buses. So this is going to be the third. And I think the district is one of the districts that has the most electric buses. So we have this one, and then we have another one on the back pocket already. So, but I don't want to really say it that we already have it, but it's coming in, and I feel very comfortable that the district is going to be granted. And so in the future board meetings, you will be seeing a PG&E grant that I also got the district to qualify. So there's going to be infrastructure for electric buses, because we will be able to tie the solar panels to access and to assist us of the charging stations.
That's wonderful. And I saw a bus today. It had the blue stripe. Does that mean it's the
That's
electric?
the one. That's the one.
wonderful. I saw them at Quarter Camp earlier today. Thank you.
Yes.
Jane.
Question, Araceli?
Well, it's good to be a part of clubs that offer you resources like that. So I'm glad that you are a part of whatever it is that you're a part of. My question was going to be, are we going to be able to access the solar panels? But you already answered that. So
Yes.
thank you for doing the grants that you do, because I know that they really provide our students a lot of resources.
I don't have any questions. Any public comments? Monica?
None,
No,
sorry.
no public comments? Since there's no public comments, any board comments? Jose, any board comments
No, thank you.
on 10.3?
No. We'll take that as a no.
Caesar, board comment?
Wonderful job. I had a question.
Araceli, board
None, thank you.
No, thank you, Trini, for doing this. And maybe in the future, we can take a
Tour.
board field trip down to the bus barn, since we're just right here. And
Yes,
I'd love to
well,
see one.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Why don't we have one parked right outside the next meeting. And
Oh.
Yes, we can do that. Yes.
Oh, awesome. Thank
Great.
you.
Can I drive it?
I know, I haven't been on a school bus in a while.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trini. Seeing as that ends our board comments, we have to take a roll call vote for our resolution.
Board President Celeste Daniel,
Yes.
Board Clerk Araceli Flores,
Yes.
Board Member Jose Lopez,
Yes.
Board Member Cesar Ayon.
Yes.
Excellent. Moving on to 10.4, adoption of resolution number 2021-22-23, declaration of rule status of purpose of exemption from Senate Bill 328. Staff report.
yes, so just a brief history. So SB 328 was enacted, or it in turn enacted Ed Code 46148C, requiring high schools to start no later than 8:30 and middle schools no later than 8 a.m. Effective July 1st, 22. The law expressly, though, provided an exception for rural schools, but unfortunately failed to define what constitutes a rural school. So an updated version of the law did define rural schools, but it never passed. So the law remains without definition. Nonetheless, the CTE has been providing informal guidance, advising districts that they should, if they're going to proceed, they should be in conformance with those proposed definitions of rural schools. And CSBA has advised schools that the best course of action would be to pass a resolution, which is what we're bringing to you tonight, that includes those definitions, provided that in fact they do truly apply to your system. So I've chosen the ones that do apply. There were 2 of them. Then I've done enough research that I've found other definitions. There are no less than 15 definitions of rural schools in the federal government. And so I've found others that do apply. So I think I've got 4 or 5 reasons in there, kind of a belt and suspenders approach. The reason why we're asking you to adopt this is not because we're against the Late Start Initiative. It's because given the fact that Gonzales High School will likely, not definitely, but will likely in the year 23-24 begin to have to, in addition to a regular full calendar of minutes for an instructional year, also add makeup minutes for the loss of instructional minutes this year. If they were to start at 8:30, they would likely end school very close to 4 o'clock, much too late for athletic practices given in the wintertime. So our advice is that you adopt this resolution, allowing the district to plan for starting school. Likely, we don't have the final proposal yet, but likely the current start time of 8:15, because that will allow the school next year, because it doesn't have the extra additional minutes to add in, an end time of around 3:30, which would be acceptable. And then the following year, depending on what happens, if you do have to add minutes, you may choose to stay at starting at 8:15, or you may want to actually retreat back to your former start time closer to 8 a.m. But I think it's a mistake to move at this point to 8:30 and then have to make a full retreat back to 8 o'clock should that come to be. And so I think the status quo start time is the wise thing to do. So I therefore asked for you to pass this resolution.
Thank you, Marvin. Questions, Jose?
No.
Cesar, question?
No question.
No. And I have no questions. Are there any public comments? No. No public comments. Jose, do you have a comment?
No, thank you.
Cesar?
Yes, I want to thank Marvin for looking into this. As he said, we will have to make up instructional minutes. So it's 3,700 minutes next year, probably the year after as well, since we didn't meet them previously. We didn't meet the required instructional minutes of 64,800. Therefore, we're going to be in the hole in the next 2 years at least. So this, following the new the guidance and starting at 8:30 exactly would put a whole lot of stress on our, kids, our teachers, parents, everybody. And we always want to encourage kids to participate outside of school as well in clubs, activities and such. Starting at 4 o'clock, especially in the winter, the sun goes down at 5, right? It's dark at 5. So it's just not, you don't want to have your kids be walking in pitch black, at 8 o'clock at night without any lights. So it just, for so many reasons, thank you, Marvin. Yes, thank you for looking into this.
Can I make two gentle corrections?
Yes.
Next year,
Oh, yes. That's right.
there will not be an imposition of additional instructional minutes. And it's possible that they will never come. We just don't know. I think it's likely they will, but it's definitely won't be next year.
That's right. I'm sorry, Marvin. Thank you for that clarification.
I'm going to have to go back and address the teachers again. next
Yeah,
week.
that's right. No. Thank you for the clarification because in fact, you have said that multiple times to me and I've forgotten that the strategy is to get an audit. And so we'll have that audit when our next superintendent is here. And then that audit will actually give us the exact pinpoint numbers. Once we have the audit, we would then petition to the state, I believe, as to what remediation steps there are to do. So then at the earliest, it wouldn't be next year. I misspoke. Thank you, Marvin. It would be in 2 years. But still, the point is that we are going to be, behind the 8 ball a little bit into years and going forward. So this sets us up for that. Thank you.
Araceli?
None.
Thank you, Marvin, for doing all the hard work on this. I know it was something that we had thought that was not possible, but you did all the legwork for us. So I appreciate you looking into this and getting down to the root of it. So thank you. Thank you. Seeing this is as a resolution, we need to take a vote.
Board President Celestino.
Yes.
Board Clerk Araceli Flores.
Yes.
Board Member Jose Lopez.
Yes.
Board Member Cesar Ayan.
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to 10.5, approval of the revision to the Gonzales Unified School District 2022-23 and 2023-24 school year calendars. Staff report.
I would ask if you would like a staff report or if it's sufficiently clear what's been presented.
2 calendars. Yeah. 2. So questions? Jose, do you have a question?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Caesar, a question?
No question.
None.
No, I have no questions. Any public comment? None. Jose, do you have any comment?
No, thank you.
Caesar, comment?
Yes, comment. I like the new font. Thank you.
I like the old font.
Araceli, comment?
No.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Okay, no comment for myself. Can I get a motion?
So move, Araceli.
Moved by Ms. Flores.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 10.6, approval of the beyond the 100 limit travel request for the Gonzales High School sports medicine class to visit the California State University, Fresno on May 16th, 2022. Staff report.
None.
Any questions, Jose?
No, thank you.
Caesar, question?
No question.
Araceli,
None.
question? I have no question. Any public comment?
None.
No public comment. Jose, comment?
None at this time.
Caesar, comment?
Yes, comment. I want to thank, is it Mr.
10.6.
Yeah, is it Mr. Cuevas on this
Mhm.
one? Yeah, Mr. Cuevas. Since sports medicine started in our district and we're always talking about offering more services to our kids, one thing that has happened, if you read the scholarship applications and you see what they want to study, guess what? They put kinesiology there. I didn't even know what the word meant until I was in college, right? And so it's because of sports medicine, right? And so obviously that's a program that has had a positive impact. And I hope that these kids really enjoy that trip to Fresno State.
Thank you. Ms. Flores?
No. Thanks to Fidencio and have a great time.
Mr. Cuevas, thank you so much. I'm so glad to see sportsmen back. I know when we didn't have sportsmen, we had a lot of very sad students. So I'm glad to see sportsmen back. I'm glad to see this travel back. I got to see his pictures last time of his students and everything that they do up in Fresno, and just getting that opportunity to get out of the county, visit a four-year college. So thank you for providing that opportunity to our students. With that being said, can I get a motion to approve 10.6?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Round, second by Ms. Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to 10.9, approval of the adult education program calendar for the 2022-23 academic school year. Staff report.
Candace is here to entertain any questions should you have them.
Is it, it's just done. Question, Jose?
Hey, Candace, a couple of things for the adult education program.
Yes.
How can we support you well, maybe this is an idea that I kind of shared with Sonia a while ago, Vallejo, in regards to engaging, the families or our parents at home to get them to, get their GED, get their equivalency.
So Jose, I'm gonna ask you to frame your question as it was regarded to the calendar. Do you have a calendar question?
Well, it was building to that in the sense that how do we? I would like to see that we do like an open house or something like that in the calendar for the adult program.
Can you repeat that?
I think he's looking for like more presence or more advertisement to encourage people to attend school.
No, but Jose, can you hear me?
He didn't mention he was
This
having
computer
issues.
is acting up. It's warming up and it shuts the mic down.
So I was just asking you to clarify your question to keep it in the frame because the item that we're on action is regarding the calendar for the 22-23 academic school year for the adult ed. Does your question pertain to the adult ed calendar?
Going once. Nope, going twice.
And if not, we can chat about it at a different time.
Email her.
Definitely email Candace if you have, sorry, question.
Appreciate it. I appreciate the advocacy. I really
Oh,
do.
definitely.
It's a great program.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Caesar, question?
No question.
No.
No question. For myself, any public comment?
He's trying to call them.
Public comment? None. No public comment. We're gonna move on to board comments. Does he have a board comment? Let him know it's about the,
Computer froze, Caesar starting it.
okay. So he's reconnecting. Caesar, any comments?
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome to have the same font for the norm yeah, thank you. Just, I'm kind of like that. Yeah.
No comment.
No comment for myself either. Can I get a motion to
So
approve?
move, Araceli.
Moved by Ms. Flores.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ion. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 10.10, approval to contract Lozano Smith, attorney at law for legal services for fiscal year 2023. Staff report?
Yes. This contract calls for an increase in certain categories of legal services, but happily not for the category that your primary legal provider, Dan, is currently in. So
Thank you. Is Jose connected?
No,
No.
his computer froze. It's
Okay.
restarting.
Question, Caesar?
No question.
Personally? I have no questions. Any public comment?
None.
No public comment. Board comment, Caesar?
Oh, how about Jose?
He's reconnecting.
He's got to adjust the, I don't know, bunny ears. No, so just to the public, if you look at this document, you'll see, right? You'll see, per hour rates, right? And some of these might be like, what are you talking about? But let me tell you, and that I always look at money and what we're spending and why we're spending whatever we're spending, right? But in my experience with our new counsel, Dan, personally, it has been wonderful to have his guidance there. To have, as you can tell, we're kind of going through the process and we're trying to fix some things. We're trying to kind of streamline other things, right? That we really didn't have that ability to do until we have somebody there that's kind of been there and done that. And so it really tells us like, hey, maybe you should do this process instead of that. And all that, it just saves us time, makes us more efficient. As you can tell, it makes us more congenial. Is that a word? I think it is. And so anyway, I'm just really satisfied and very happy with the services that we have been receiving from Lozano Smith.
Thank you.
No comment.
I'll make sure Dan hears that.
Yeah. And I just do want to clarify because I love Dan. He was like my best friend for the longest time. But these, just so to clarify for the public, these services are not specifically down. This is, these are Lozano Smith. So our services, as Marvin had said, for Dan are not changing those fees. Yes, those fees are not changing. So thank you. Can I get a motion to approve 10.10?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. 10.11, approval for the reconfiguration of room 36 at La Gloria Elementary to create 5 offices. Staff report.
You heard a presentation 2 weeks ago by Louis and others, and this was one of the many projects that was described. Louis and Trini are here tonight if you have questions about it. Otherwise, we're just asking for authorization to begin with the development of the plan.
Excellent. Question, is Jose on there?
No.
Caesar, question?
No question.
Araceli,
None.
question? I have no questions.
No comments.
No public comments. Board comments? Caesar?
No comment.
None.
I have no comments. Can I get a motion to
So
approve?
move, Araceli.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Trying to get through it.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. 10.12, approval to contract with in-studio architects to design and supervise the construction of a new district elementary school. Staff report.
Yes. So you previously approved this contract for the same dollar amount. However, bringing it back to you because In Studio has graciously added 120 hours of community programming at no additional fee. So I think this is a good opportunity to look at Louis and convey to him to thank the folks who made that decision, which I assume was you. Yeah, so thank you.
Any comments from questions from the board? Caesar?
No question.
None.
No questions from myself. Do we have
Jose
Jose?
is back on? Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
Jose,
for-
do you have a comment? A question regarding item 10.12?
No, no,
No questions? Any public comment?
just thankful.
Board comment on 10.12, Jose?
Thank you guys for your gift to our district.
Caesar?
Yeah, I think this the project's not done yet, and I don't want to speak too soon, but I think this bodes well for going with in studio architecture. Louis' class of '88, right? That's right, go Spartans, right? So it's always good. I was class of '93 over here, so it's always good to to have somebody from our community help us with big projects, and this is one of them. And obviously to them it's not just a project, right? It's something personal. So I really enjoy that, and I thank you on behalf I think of the board for your extra hours.
Araceli, comments?
thank you, Louis, and your partners.
Yeah, thanks again. It shows us why we made the decision that we made to have the hands-on, somebody who knows us and is invested in our schools. So thank you so much. That being said, do I have a motion to approve 10.12?
So move, Araceli.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Flores, second by Mr. Ion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. 10.13, approval of the memorandum of understanding between the California School Employees Association, CSEA, Chapter 756, and Gonzales Unified School District regarding enhanced pay for the summer 2022 assignments. Staff report.
I believe this is a MOU that's similar to or identical to the one you passed last year for the summer program in 21.
Routine. Questions? Jose, do you have a question?
No, thank you.
Caesar, question?
A question?
None.
Ursa, I have no questions. Any public comments? Jose, comment?
No, thank you.
Caesar?
Nope.
None.
Seeing as there's no comments, can I get a motion to
So
approve?
move, Araceli.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ayan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 10.14, approval of the memorandum of understanding between the California School Employees Association, CSCA, Chapter 756, and Gonzales Unified School District regarding out-of-class pay for Ida Maydon effective 4/11/2022. Staff report.
Only Hector is here to answer any questions, should you have them.
Any questions, Jose?
Not on my end.
Caesar?
None.
I have no questions. Any public comment? None. No public comment. Board comments, Jose?
No, thank you.
Caesar? Araceli?
None.
No board comments. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ayan. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 10.15, approval of the side letter of agreement between Gonzales Unified School District and California School Employees Association, Chapter 756, regarding instructional paraprofessional 2, new classification. Staff report.
I'll just, well, first of all, Hector will answer any questions, but I'll say I think this is a creative approach to addressing an issue that confronts the district in terms of an adequate sub pool. And also hopefully the long-term outcome will be that you homegrown some teachers, that they don't stop at becoming subs, that they become fully certified.
Any, did you have a question, Jose?
No, just coughing.
Caesar, question?
No.
I have no questions. Any public comment? No public comment. Board comments, Jose?
Not at this time.
Caesar? No
No.
board. Araceli, I will say I was homegrown. I moved in from classified to sub to teaching. So that we have that, it happens. So awesome. Can I get a motion to approve?
So move, Araceli.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ayan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 10.16, approval of the memorandum of understanding between the California School Employees Association, CSCA, Chapter 756, and Gonzales Unified School District regarding employees administering insulin injections.
Again, Hector's here to answer any questions, but I'll just add the observation that I personally, and I know Hector is as well, are appreciative of the classified members who stepped up to help solve this real issue.
Questions, Jose?
No.
Caesar, question?
None.
Mike, so previously they were not allowed to? So because they are administering the insulin, they have been trained then, I'm assuming. Okay. That would be my only question. Okay. Any public comment? Board comment, Jose?
None at this time.
Caesar?
None.
No board comments. Can I get a motion to approve?
So move, Araceli.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Flores, second by Mr. Ayan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 10.17, classified personnel assignment order number 21-22-76 to open classified expanded learning opportunities program positions for the 2022 summer school program.
No report, but we'll answer any questions.
No
Pretty
question.
standard. Any questions, Jose?
No.
Caesar, question?
No.
None.
I have no questions. Any public
None.
comment? Jose, comment?
No.
Caesar, comment? No comments. Can I get a motion to approve?
So move, Araceli.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ayan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 10.18, administrative certificated personnel assignment order number 21-22-08 to open 2 summer school lead positions for the 2022 summer school program. Staff report.
No, but we'll answer questions.
Do you have a question, Jose?
No.
Caesar, question?
None.
Have we filled those positions? Okay. That was the only questions. Any public comment? No public comment. Jose, comment? No com- Cesar,
No
comment?
comment.
None.
No comments. Can I get a motion to approve?
So move, Araceli.
Moved by Ms. Flores.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. 10.19, certificated personnel assignment order number 21-22-103 to open certificated position for the 2022 summer school program. Staff report.
None. We'll say again, answer questions.
Question, Jose?
No.
Caesar, question?
None.
Questions? I have no questions. Any public comment? None. Board comments, Jose?
No comment at this time.
Caesar?
No.
No comments from the board. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. 10.20, certificated personnel assignment order number 21-22-101 to open one sixth grade teacher position at Fairview Middle School for the 2022-23 school year. Staff report.
Yolanda, do you want to take a moment just to explain why this position is being requested? Or Hector, one of you?
Oh, okay. Jose, any questions?
No question.
Caesar, question?
None.
So if we have an overflow, so does that mean that our sixth grade class size is larger than the current class size?
Mhm.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you. Any public comment?
None.
Board comments, Jose?
No.
Caesar?
None.
No board comments. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. 10.21, certificated personnel assignment order 21-22-102 to open one special education SDC teacher position at Gonzales High School for 2022-23 school year. Staff report.
None.
Any questions, Jose?
No, nada.
Caesar, question?
None.
Araceli, no question. I have no questions. Public comment? None. Board comments, Jose?
Nope, no. Nada.
Caesar?
No.
None.
No board comments. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 10.22, classified personnel assignment order 21-22-78 to open classified position for the 2022 summer school program. Staff report.
No.
No staff report. Board questions, Jose?
Nope.
Caesar?
None.
No board questions. Public comment?
None.
No public comment. Board comments, Jose?
Nope.
Caesar?
None.
No board comments. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Move.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Second.
second by Mr. Ion.
Third.
All those in favor? Sorry, Jose, you're delayed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll let you have one.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. 10.23, certificated personnel assignment order 21-22-105 to open one TK grade teacher position at La Gloria Elementary School for the 2022-23 school year. Staff report.
Yes, this position is being added because the window of eligibility for birth dates for TK students has increased by, I think, about 66% from 3 months to 5%, 3 months to 5 months. And given that we've been running at close to capacity, 22 students or so, and capacity is 24, we expect that we will need a second program, second teacher.
Awesome.
Two little TKers. Dang.
Board questions, Jose?
No question.
Caesar? Question? No questions for myself. Public comment? No public comment. Board comments, Jose?
Nope. No.
Caesar?
Yeah, just real quick. All jobs all jobs are hard, but I don't think I ever subbed for TK for a reason, because I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. K maybe, but TK, no thanks. So props to all the TK teachers out there.
Kids they're at their purest.
Yes.
So in teaching, you always know you're either secondary teacher or and I do not, I applaud all of our, not just our elementary teachers, but especially TK. So that's awesome. With that being said, can we get a motion?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Flores,
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I?
second by Mr. Second,
I get at least
But-
one.
yes. So go ahead, Jose.
I pull out of my motion.
Can I get a motion?
Don't move.
Moved by Mr. Lopez,
second?
second by Ms. Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 11, Governing Board, 11.1, Governance Team Comments. Jose.
Yes, just want to thank everybody for all the work that they're doing. Thank you to Marvin for his leadership, and for everybody that works, from the custodians, their teachers, counselors, everybody, for the great work that they're doing, as we try to normalize out of this pandemic. Also, in regards to, this is for our superintendent, can we, actually for the counselors at the high school, have they been, I know that during the comments of the high school, that the leadership there mentioned that they have informed the parents and the students that are perhaps don't have all the requirements for graduation. I just want to make sure that we are reaching and doing everything possible that we can to support these kids and making sure they cross the stage. It's only 3 weeks away now, and I just would hate that family comes in last minute. So that's all.
Thank you, Jose. Caesar, board comments?
Thank you, Jose. I think that's a great suggestion. One other thing, I think it would be nice to have, Marvin, maybe not right away, but the scholarship application deadline passed. So I would be interested to see what the numbers were, how many kids applied, and how many scholarships, local scholarships were available. This is really just local scholarships. Normally every year we have a pretty good turnout, both in terms of kids applying and of course.
Are you requesting that as a future agenda item?
Yeah,
or
like if
our governance team
oh my
comments?
goodness, yeah, I'm out of turn. Oops.
Government's team comments, so.
Yeah, I don't have a comment.
Okay,
No.
Ms. Flores.
I just want to thank the board and for the opportunity to go to Washington, DC and advocate for SPED services, mental health services, and address teacher shortages. It was an inspiring trip to be at the U.S. Department of Education and see California, the U.S. Undersecretary from San Diego be there and listen to the needs of California students, and to learn that one thing I did learn from there is SPED education is a mandate from the federal state, but it's not really funded. And I think it's important for us to really look at how much are we spending locally for SPED, and then how much of that is coming from SPED and how much of that is coming from general fund. And so, and I got the information, and it was like, we spent 10 million on Fed and on SPED, and out of that, 4 million of that is from general funds. And so, and it's a mandate. So we got some really good statistics that I think we'll share with the board if it hasn't been shared already, because there was a pollster there. She was amazingly funny, who gave us data on some of the polling that she did regarding a lot of topics statistics that were surprising, and I'm not even going to mention because I don't remember them, but it was a great opportunity to advocate specifically for the teacher shortage. And I think we're going to start seeing some really great ideas coming out of the state and maybe even the Fed in regards to how they're going to address teacher shortages and how do we support teachers and what teachers need to do or the changes that are going to be made so people can become teachers, because Celeste can tell you that it's a rigorous process. So that was a great experience.
Long, you name it.
Yeah, advocacy is my cup of tea. I loved it. He's the networker, so he collected business cards. But it was an honor to represent Gonzales Unified.
I know Marvin had already mentioned it, but with tomorrow being National School Nurses Day, I want to give a huge thank you to both our school nurses, especially to Nurse Grace. It is not uncommon for you to see Nurse Grace out and have all the kids around her. Everybody loves Nurse Grace. Having a student who relied heavily on Nurse Grace, there's not enough words to thank her for everything that she does. I know my child felt safe when Nurse Grace was there and could give her meds, and like I said, there's not enough. You're a very lucky man, Caesar. So even though Marvin said give her a hug, you're gonna take her to dinner. You're gonna do a lot of things because she's amazing, and we are so lucky to have her. I know, like I said, we'd be lost without her. She's amazing, and thank you, Nurse Grace, for everything. I know you run from site to site, and I don't know how you do it. I really don't know how you do it. So thank you. I also want to mention that for those that are listening at home, don't forget Fair Week is coming up. And I know Ms. Birmingham, Mr. Maresca, and Ms. Dawkins have worked so hard with our students. Oh, it starts. Oh, yeah. So, and I know Thursdays weigh-ins, Fridays showing, and Saturdays the auction. If you haven't been to an auction, just go. It's so fascinating. But our students work really hard. So thank you to our FFA program, and good luck to all of our students. I know we're having finally a live auction, an in-person auction. So I think that makes a world of a difference. So good luck to all of our students in that. And I will be attending our CTE ceremony. We have a student being recognized, so I can't wait to bring the board update on that one. So I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, that's the end of our governance team comments. 11.2 future agenda items. Jose, future agenda items.
No, there's a lot on the list already.
Caesar, future agenda items.
Thank you. If we can please, excuse me, if we can please just maybe have an information item just regarding local scholarships and how that went. Just like to get a gauge of how that turned out.
Number of awards.
How many kids applied? How many did we have? How many local scholarships did we have? Type of thing. And because I think a lot of folks might not fully realize how much local funding there's out there here for our kids. I think the more visibility we bring to it, the better that our kids can start thinking, they're sophomores and they're like, oh, gee, there's all these scholarships. Maybe I should get on the ball. Maybe I should do XYZ to better position myself for, when I'm a junior or senior to apply for these scholarships.
It'd be a pleasure to bring that.
Thank you.
Wouldn't that be part of the guidance department to kind of fall under their wing?
It would be
No, he wants a future agenda item as far as.
Yeah, but I mean, I totally support what Cesar's saying. I'm just adding to that.
Okay.
We should-
Araceli, future agenda items.
No, you have a lot already.
Yeah, we do have. So I don't have any future agenda item requests. We're going to move on to 11.3 future meeting dates. We have our screen.
Just can't get enough of each other. That's why.
Just so that you guys know, I'm gonna be away the whole month of July.
The whole month of July.
I think
We don't have any board meetings in July.
everybody is, Jose.
Well, there's that leadership institute that I think some people wanted.
But we're not all going. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The leadership institute. But Maria's only going. Never mind.
And think the only thing that we're gonna have missing we'll have to figure out just, FYI for my fellow trustees that are here, we will be having to fit in our special board meetings for our board evaluation.
Yes, sorry.
FYI.
That was in my head right now. Because we have to self-evaluate
Probably just because of the fact that we haven't done it. We've it's gotten knocked down on the totem pole, so that is going to be coming.
I think
I think we just need to get,
a date.
our superintendent search done, our CVRA complete, and then we can, because those are priorities right now. So I just want to give you food for thought for that moving
Maybe
forward.
the second day after,
Well, we're not gonna.
after Jose gets back. Maybe
I
the
can
second
join you
day.
guys, yeah, virtually.
It's important. We gotta learn how to do that.
Yeah.
So your board members.
Okay, with that being said, we're moving on to item 12, closed session items. 12.1, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision D of section 54956.9 of the California Government Code, 1 potential case pursuant to the California Voting Rights Act. 12.2, public employees discipline, dismissal, release, Government Code section 54957. And 12.3, conference with labor negotiator, agency representative, board president, unrepresented employee, interim superintendent. Are there public comments on closed session items? Item 13, to allow the public to comment to the board's consideration of any closed session agenda item, Government Code 54954.3.
None.
No. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to item 14, adjourning to closed session. Thank
guys
you,
have a good
everybody.
night.
Good
Thank you
night.
for sticking it out.
Thank you for being here, Scott.
I'll formally
Oh,
introduce you
Scott,
to the next-
welcome to our
Yes,
district.
of course.
Probably haven't met some of these people.
We have sort of.